voice is as pretty as Lionel Richie.
Lionel Richie.
It's not too loud, is it?
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, along with...
And Kerry Smith.
Giving you all the late-breaking news, the details, the ifs, ands, what's, ups, ins, outs, downs. Making sense of it all.
Well, we'll be all over the place for you.
That is correct. Coin, copyright, Smith Radio. We are all over the place for you. And we have a lot on our plate today. Again, the stack keeps getting bigger. Tons and tons of stuff to talk about today. Exposing what needs to have the light shed on it so that you can see it clearly. And when you're in front of somebody that's talking about it and they have no idea what they're talking about, you'll know. And you can shut them down. For those
We're talking about sports, right? Oh, politics.
Hey, congratulations to the Bengals today.
Oh, yeah. Well,
7-0.
Yeah, but there might be a lot of listeners out there that are like, I don't care about those Bengals.
I know you don't care about them, but we are in Cincinnati, broadcasting live out of
We're a little excited about
Norwalk.
You got to understand, we grew up in an era where for 2 decades we had the laughingstock of all of pro sports.
Oh, absolutely.
So we could get a little excited.
Yeah, well, not only that, not only did we have the laughingstock, but we also had 2 runs at the Super Bowl. Two separate runs within 10 years. 10 years. It was in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
Shut down both times by the late great, not the retired great, none other than Joe Montana.
Joe Montana wasn't both of them, though.
Yes, he was.
He was in 82?
Yes, he was. He shut us down, but both times shut us down.
No.
Shut us down.
Somebody else.
First one was, our quarterback was Kenny Anderson with Chris Collinsworth. Second one was Boomer Esiason with Chris Collinsworth. He was in both of them. And Joe Montana.
In both of them.
The 49ers.
I didn't know that Joe Montana was that old.
Oh, dude, he's like 900.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I didn't know he was against us in the first Super Bowl.
So while we try and make sense of all of this and give you the heads up, the details,
what happened? What are we going to talk about today?
We are going to help you understand why the liberal biased media is what their agenda is, and why their agenda is. What are they doing out there? We're also going to lather up and talk about Hillary Clinton. That one's still on the burner. That one's still frying.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that hasn't dropped off and just she's been done away with. But we do have a new sponsor for this show.
Really?
Yeah, brought to you by America Rising PAC, America Rising PAC. Apparently, Trump is really against PACs, super PACs.
Uh-huh.
But this commercial is pretty awesome. So we'll play that a little bit later on. Give them a plug. BLM.
Do we send them a bill? Is that how it works?
Yeah, they do get a bill for every time we play it. We'll be playing it.
A little inside joke.
Often
and Radio.
Often and frequently. So while we queue it all up, we've got to give the listeners our phone number. If you're listening live right now at smithradio.com, you can call in on our call-in hotline, 772-49-SMITH, SMYTH. You can get us right there. Or if you're listening to us live and you don't feel like calling in, that's okay. There is also a way when you go onto the console, you can go down where it says comments, click on the comment section, and you can actually text IM us.
Well, it's like a comment, I guess, but we see it real time.
Right. So. We see it in real time, and we can respond to you as the show's going. So if you have comments and
it's right there
insight.
In the app. It's right on the app. Can you access that from the app, like from your phone, or is it only from the computer? I don't remember seeing it or not. didn't really search for it or anything when I was on my phone, because I generally do not access the app or the website from a computer. Anytime I get on Spreaker, it's always just from the app on my phone. And I can't remember if there was a comment section there or not. But if you're listening on your phone, then you can call us.
Correct. Do that when you feel the need to let go.
All right. So do we give them the date? It's been the third debate, and so we're going to have to talk a little bit about that. It's been talked about exhaustively because it happened on Wednesday, and it was a big newsmaker. So pretty much every single expert in the world has a shot at talking about it. But we're going to talk. We may be Johnny come lately about this topic since it's Sunday. So it's been about, 4 days now?
Correct.
4 whole days of expert commentary later, we come along. But there's something that I haven't heard anybody say. Maybe it's been said and I just didn't hear it. We listen to a lot of news throughout the week of all types. Liberal side, conservative side, doesn't really matter. We've heard it. We see it in print, website, TV, radio, all of the above. And we are going to talk about something that I have not heard yet with regards to the debate in regards to CNBC's horrible performance, I guess is the best way to call
absolute insanity.
Right.
I mean, it was juvenile day on the playground. It was I've never heard people talk to presidential candidates like they spoke to them. They spoke to them like they were speaking to their kids.
So you're hinting at what we're going to say about it. It's weird. You would think that all these expert commentators and even the candidates themselves, their campaign managers and spokespeople,
right,
are saying stuff about it, and they're all missing the mark a little tiny bit. They're like not right on the bullseye, and we're gonna nail it today. What else are we talking about?
Oh, did you hear about Clock Boy?
No, he's been in the news, but you mean there's something new?
It's just along with media bias.
Oh boy, what's new?
Time Magazine's Teen of the Year.
What?
Most influential teen of the year, top 10 or something, top 20, Clock Boy.
What a low bar to set. All he did was exploit the culture that we have where it's like victimhood, minority based, where if you're a minority or if you have a different culture that's not in the mainstream, that you can exploit your culture, or I should say American culture, using the victimhood stuff. And what would it be? It's not bigotry. It's like prejudicial beliefs, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So he knew what I'm trying to say in a really roundabout way. He knows, okay, he's a Muslim, which puts him in minority status as far as religion's concerned in America. And he knows, because of the way America works, that there is a bias towards Muslims, that they could blow stuff up without any warning.
Right.
So he knows that if he builds a bomb, that he's going to be treated differently. Or I should say, if he builds a clock that's kind of odd looking, it could be construed as a bomb, not because it might be a bomb or it might look like a bomb, which, by the way, it absolutely looked like a bomb.
Oh, yeah.
But because he's Muslim. And so he exploited that. And that's what made him so influential.
Yeah.
So
I agree 100%.
The theory is
he was able to pull off and get national recognition.
And a trip to an invitation to the White House.
And now he's moving out of the country because they feel that his father and the family feels that his life will be better in the Middle East with ISIS and ISIL and all the Muslims, terrorists.
I concur.
And
He needs to be with his own kind, the terrorists.
Correct. So he can go to real bomb-making school now.
Right.
Instead of being a rip-off artist and stealing
he
and
built
cheating.
a fake bomb. I mean, how do you get high marks in a science fair when you build a bomb that doesn't work. I mean, seriously.
Hey, I will say this, though. I made an electric motor in the 8th grade out of a shoebox and some wire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when it was there in the science fair, the teachers and everybody said, yeah, it did work. But I think some of the kids were messing with it throughout the science fair.
Oh, don't tell me so. You ended up...
No, they gave it to me anyways. They said, yeah, okay, good to go. Green light.
Right,
I came in second.
But it would have been
something.
a lot more impressive.
I would have had first place.
Right, if it worked.
Yes.
But this kid, let me ask you a question. Did you get invited to the White House?
No. And that's what it just ruined my whole life.
You needed to make yourself a victim.
And blame somebody.
Right.
Find somebody.
Well, no. If you can blame society as a whole,
right,
that's how you get invited.
We will be blaming our government for the education or lack thereof. We'll be talking about Common Core a little bit later on.
Great.
Yep.
I love to blast on Common Core.
Trump makes news. Obama makes some really huge decisions. Major budget pass that shouldn't have never passed.
What's that noise?
I don't know. We've got an alarm going on.
Oh, it's Clock Boy. He's in the studio. How's it going?
Where's he at? There's no joke. Oh, my goodness. The Clock Boy is in the house.
What is this? How do you turn it off?
To pull the batteries out.
Dude, I just pulled the knob off.
You got to pull the batteries out.
I'm working on it.
Paul Ryan, we'll be speaking about him and who he is. All the details about what about him and what's not about him. We also have a lightning round again. We brought lightning round back because it was
back by popular demand.
Exactly. Huge demand. So I'd like to start off with, I guess we can start off. Megyn Kelly had a panel. And she had two Republicans on her panel this week. And on her panel, she talked to them about the Republican debate.
You mean the CNBC Republican?
Correct. The CNBC Republican debate that was held in Colorado. And this is kind of a long clip, but I'll stop it periodically and we can talk about it. But this clip kind of gives you the round over. It's the most well-rounded clip I've heard so far that gives you insight into the awesomeness of the debate. Really gives you substance and helps you to understand that the media really is trying to help us.
Oh, good. Okay. Yes. I like to hear that. It's an uplifting story.
Yeah.
I mean, for Reince Priebus to come out and say CNBC ought to be ashamed of itself. And let me start with you on this, Howie, because CNBC came out and said, that's what we get paid to do, ask hard questions. That's going to be the defense.
Okay, folks, and you are going to hear the hardest questions that have ever been put to anyone.
I think you might be... Do I detect a little sarcasm?
No, that's real, and it's real hard.
Okay.
Questions, that is.
Uh-oh.
It's extraordinary.
Megan, this was an absolute train wreck for CNBC. Many of the moderators' questions seemed to me to be snide, hostile, condescending, borderline insulting. And let me just make clear, I'm totally in favor of tough and provocative questions. You know as well as anyone when you do that, sometimes the audience doesn't like it, sometimes the candidates don't like it. But a lot of these questions were not drilling down on facts or record or policy. When John Howard says, Trump, comic book campaign, or does he have the moral authority to be president? When Carl Quintanilla asks Marco Rubio, who had a good night, by the way, are you a young man in a hurry? Shouldn't you have waited a few years to run for president? It just validated what a lot of people think about the mainstream media and this channel that's affiliated, of course, with NBC News, that they cannot be fair to Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Okay. Now, there's still more of a sound clip to go, but I just want to put out there that in a debate, the moderators, is it their job to go rogue and actually question the age of a candidate in the sense of, you can ask the age. Do you think you have the wisdom at 35 years old to be president? That would be a good question. However, when you say something of the nature of, Don't you think you're a bit young? Maybe you should wait, sit it out.
So you're dancing around the point I want to make in this show about what was wrong with that debate.
We'll be talking about this, and we'll be dancing all night.
Yeah, and he did too. I don't know who was it that was responding to Megyn Kelly there. Whoever that was, he's close. He's really close.
They all were so close, but they don't get it like Smith Radio does.
Right, that's right.
What about Aleister Crowley when she defended Obama in the debate with Mitt Romney?
Oh, well, it was a 2-on-1 debate there.
Aleister Crowley really came.
Who's Aleister?
No, girl, what's her name?
Crowley.
Candy Crowley.
Candy. Who's Aleister?
Aleister Crowley. He's
he Candy Crowley. Yeah, she what she did was unforgivable. She should never work in any kind of a legit journalist outfit ever again, because what she did what was equivalent to a ref making a really, 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 really bad call in, let's say, a football game that altered the outcome of the game, and did it with the purpose of altering the outcome. That's
Correct.
How bad what she did was.
When you defend the President of the United States
with a lie.
Yes!
She basically lied in defending Obama. Interrupted Mitt Romney while he was going for the kill. It was the kill shot.
Aleister Crowley, a British practitioner of black magic in the early 1900s, known as the wickedest man alive.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe her name is Aleister.
Obama is caught with a T-shirt with his picture on it.
No.
Yeah, no lie.
It had to have been photoshopped.
Well, hey, so was his birth certificate.
That's
and they're
true.
taking
That's
that as
true.
fact.
I still do not understand the birth certificate thing. It is a fact. Proven.
Don't you birther? You're a birther.
No, he may have actually been born in Hawaii. I will openly admit that there is no reason that I know of,
right,
to believe that when they say he was born in Hawaii that they're lying. There's no reason I have to believe that they're lying.
Right.
Okay, but I do know that this is a fact. The birth certificate that he released was so fraudulent, I thought he was going to come out and say, I didn't release that. It was
somebody else did.
Somebody did. It was a bit. The whole thing was a hoax. I didn't release that.
It was that kid, that high school kid, that 13-year-old that broke it.
Clock Boy?
Yeah, he broke it again.
The guy that broke into the servers of the FBI or the CIA or whatever. Oh my gosh. So that's how it is a fact that we have not seen anything that would resemble a legit birth certificate from him. The one he did release has been heavily altered and verified by the creator of Adobe Photoshop.
Whoa. And
also the creator didn't say, wow, this is a good job, but I think it's not real. No, it's a female, by the way. She was like, this isn't even what I would consider professional work. This was done by people who have an understanding of Photoshop.
Right.
And that's it.
Apparently you hired a 5th grader who said he knew Adobe.
Oh, yeah. I know how to do it. It's like that guy. I know HTML.
It's like Keanu Reeves. I know Kung Fu.
Right.
For the last time. No, you don't.
It was uploaded.
Yes, of course.
He uploaded the software.
All right. So more of this excellent coverage of the debate.
Okay.
Disaster for all of us in the news business.
The thing is, Steigerwalt, and Steigerwalt was in those debate prep meetings with me and Brett and Chris Wallace, and we went over each and every question. None of these was a surprise. And to put them all together, I mean, that no one stood up and said, hey, you know, you can have a really tough one here, a really tough one there. You can have it like a series. We had our open, but to do a whole debate of punch him in the face, in the face, in the face, in the face, leaves a certain impression.
Okay, now what she's talking about in the first debate that she got a little too involved in, a little too personal with, she said that her and the other moderators were sitting around, her and Chris Wallace and the other moderator were sitting around a table and saying, here's all the questions we're going to ask. We're not going to pull any punches.
Does anybody have any objections to my question?
Correct.
Does anybody have any objections to Chris Wallace's question? And so on and so forth.
Now, these moderators setting up for the CNBC debate, can you imagine the room? In the room?
They were in an echo chamber. They were probably trying to come up with ways to make it even worse than what they came up with. Like, I like what you did there. I like what you did there. But you know what? I think you could put a dagger and twist it a little bit more if you changed this word to this word.
Right.
Yes, I know that's what they were doing. Because that was clearly what the objective was.
And then after the alcohol wore off, they stopped. They went back to real work.
Oh, my God.
Well, you could tell just how delightful they thought it was going to be and how superior they were acting to all of the candidates up there. And they just thought it was going to be the most charming thing ever to go poke at these rubes. And they were going to have a fun rube poking expedition. And guess what? They threw, to switch analogies from rube poking, which I don't think is a real thing, to football. They threw what they thought was going to be a touchdown pass, and it got picked off and picked off and picked off and picked off and run back for touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. I know Reince Priebus is upset with the way CNBC did it, and he should be, because that was hot garbage. But they played right into the hands of Ted Cruz. They played right into the hands of Marco Rubio.
I know, at one point, I started to think maybe the moderators were pursuing a Herb Brooks type strategy. You know, like maybe they are Republicans. They were trying to unite the Republican Party by being the foil.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a heck of a point. Now, what he was saying, which I love the analogy, especially with football, is that, yeah, every single time these moderators, these moron moderators would think, oh, I'm going to really throw this one. This could be hell. This is going to sink Rubio's ship. This is going to sink Trump's ship. We are going to sink every single one of these. And mind you, folks, if you did or didn't watch the debate, whether you did or you didn't, I think, Carrie, everybody was up on stage. It was a full stage, a full array. It looked, 16 people up there?
Yeah.
10?
All right.
Something was huge. How many people are running for Democrat?
Well,
I'm just curious.
Okay, well,
what are your options on the Democrat Party?
I could blast your premise a little bit by saying, because I was about to say, well, really only 2, and the others are just there just because they want their 15 minutes of fame.
True.
But you could say the same thing about quite a few Republican candidates, especially the ones that didn't even make the big boy table.
And we talked about this, too. You can actually make a good, healthy, wealthy living at running for any position.
You know, I learned a lot about politics in general. When I mean politics in general, I mean actually running and being a politician. When I was, I may have been only dating my wife at the time, and she went to Catholic school where there's a lot of affluent students and all that. And she talked about this guy that was graduated in her same class, different school, obviously, because it's a girls' school and boys' school. But
whoa.
He was running.
Well, I'm not judging anybody. It's legal now. You can be whoever you want to be.
This guy was a boy.
Did he claim that status?
Well, he identified as a boy. All right, so anyway, I don't want to get down the weeds here. So let's get out of the weeds real quick. And so this guy was running, and he had lost a couple times, but he's still running. And my wife was like, yeah, as soon as he got out of college, the day he got out, was when he started running for these offices. And he would lose some, and he'd win one.
Did he run for mayor of Cheviot?
No. This was a higher office than local mayor.
Wow.
Yeah, much higher office. So it was an eye-opener because I had always been under this misconception that you become a success somewhere, and then at some point down the line, you're like, you know what? Kind of like the Donald Trump thing.
Well, in American history, as we travel back in time, you will see that doctors and lawyers and professionals, businessmen, would serve in office for a couple of years and then go back to their profession.
You mean they would start in their profession?
They would start in their profession as a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, entrepreneur, maybe even a large farmer, owner of landowner.
Right.
Things like that, where you were successful in life. And then you would literally, as if you were enlisting in the military for 4 years or 2 years.
It's called
or whatever.
serving, by the way.
Right. You would go to serve as a senator 2 years, congressman couple years, president of the United States of America 4 years, maybe 2 terms.
Right. And then at some point it became...
You went back home. Well, but when that was finished, you went back home to your business.
Yeah. If you were young enough to continue working, that's what you would do. And now it's become you have to be a professional politician. I think the idea was originally that you become very locally known well from your success in whatever profession you're in. Let's say you're a doctor, and everybody's like, wow, this guy's great. He's a great doctor. He's a humanitarian. He's extremely smart, all these things. And so all of a sudden, the guy's like, hey, maybe I can do even more good by serving office, blah, blah, blah. And all the locals would be like, yeah, guy's great. He's been a doctor. He
should run for mayor.
Right. Or even higher.
Right.
Okay. And so his fame comes from his success in his profession. Now, the only way to, well, I shouldn't say the only way, but for a long, long time, the only way to get the kind of fame, and you need to be famous because people need to say, Brian Smith, who is that? Oh, I know who that is. I saw him. I know a little bit about him.
Right.
I'm willing to vote for him. So people have to know who you are. So there's
some kind of name recognition.
The fame is necessary. But back then, it was fame through just being a local, person that people liked for what you did.
Well, like Steve Shabbat.
Well, he's a local lawyer.
It kind of seems like he came up that way.
He's been a politician for so long. I can't even really comment. I mean, I don't even know. But and he might be one way or the other. But the now it's like you have to get your fame by just putting your face and your name out there. Let me put 10,000 yard signs all over the city, and people are just going to know my name and my face by the yard signs. But you didn't do anything except for successfully put yard signs out.
Or if somebody says that you're clean and articulate, and you are a local community disorganizer, and you've made enough ruckus by disorganizing things that the Democrat Party says, hey, this guy's clean and articulate. Let's bring him up the ranks. Let's have him speak at the DNC.
Right. You could really read between the lines of Joe Biden when he says clean and articulate. If you read between the lines, it's, hey, we don't want a black guy running anything. We don't think that a black person
talk about racism.
Oh yeah,
it's the Democrat Party.
This is Joe Biden.
Ever.
Yeah, Joe Biden's thinking, oh, we don't want a black guy in charge of anything. But you know what? This guy's different. He's clean and articulate because normally if we're dealing with a black guy, he's dirty and doesn't know how to speak. That's reading between the lines. That if you know what projection is, that's what Joe Biden was actually saying.
Uncle Joe.
If you could read his mind, that's what he was saying.
Yeah, buddy. Wow.
So anyway, Megyn Kelly.
Yeah.
So she wasn't too happy about the CNBC debate. Huh?
Got a couple more seconds left.
All right, go ahead.
Exactly. And only one Republican tried to join them, and it was Jeb Bush. He tried to get in on the play to piggyback on their media attack on Marco Rubio, and he got run over like he was being marched over by the marching band.
Howie, what about the personalization of so many of the questions? I looked at this. You heard the Becky Quick saying, there was one where she said, I too had student loans, Senator Rubio, and I can't figure out the math on that in Harvard. I've spoken with economists. And then back to Becky, our cause, talking about working women, our cause.
You know, it didn't seem like they were focused, for the most part, on questions that, this is supposed to be a debate about the economy, on jobs, on questions that, most Americans would relate to. And it's not just that they were gotcha questions. You're right. They were so personal, and the tone seemed so condescending. And by the way, also, there were many points where the moderators lost control of the debate, so they're shouting, and there were points where they were just sloppy. So Becky Quick was trying to pin down Donald Trump on something, and he disputed the premise of the question, and she said, where did I read this, and how did I come up with this? Okay.
Yes!
You have research.
I've got that sound clip.
Said, here's the article, Mr. Trump.
You have your evidence right there. So if the person says anything that you need to show him, you can show him. This is where you said it, Mr. Trump. You said it on your website, and this is the way you said it.
So that was just poor prep work on their part. When they say, Donald Trump, you said this.
Right.
And then Donald Trump comes back, no, I didn't. I did not say that. Right. Well, you should have wrote down, okay, you wrote down the quote because you just read it, but you needed to write down the source. So you could say, well, I just found it on your website.
It is amazing.
She didn't even write down where she found that quote.
It is amazing. And the bad audio clips without me listening to the entirety of the whole thing,
which I watch the whole thing. So
well, but for me to listen to the whole thing and sort out clip by clip by clip the sound clips that I want to get from there, that would take so long. It's not even funny. However, looking on the Google forum is a little bit easier, you would think. But I think CNBC has scrubbed the net.
Oh, they've scrubbed it
of all the nasty clips of their moderators being nasty. So the only way I could get this clip of Trump and this woman, Quick.
Her name is Quick.
I don't get that. Okay, whatever. And so the only way I could get that is from one of our loyal fans who used his phone to videotape TV. But I've got it, and there's a reason why I wanted to play it is because the audio's not that good, and I'm prefacing that, letting you know.
Apologizing in advance.
Right. The audio's not that good. But the substance of it and the soundbite of it is just, it's so telling of these
well, play it and let's hear it.
These hacks.
Immigration. You have been very critical of Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, who has wanted to increase the number of these H-1Bs.
I was not at all critical of him. I was not at all. In fact, frankly, he's complaining about the fact that we're losing some of the most talented people. They go to Harvard, they go to Yale, they go to Princeton, they come from another country, and they're immediately sent out. Mm-hmm. I am all in favor of keeping these talented people here so they can go to work in Silicon Valley.
So you're in favor of increasing that?
At all critical of him.
Where did I read this and come up with this?
Probably, I don't know, you people write this stuff. I don't know.
You people! Hold on.
Let me say just one thing. Yeah. I am the only person in either campaign that's self-funding. I'm putting up 100% of my own money. And right now, I will be putting up a tremendous... So far, I put up less than anybody, and I have the best results. Wouldn't that be nice if the country could do that? But I
he's asking the moderator question.
I will be putting up, tremendous amounts of money. Super PACs are a disaster. They're a scam. They cause dishonesty, and you better get rid of them because they are causing a lot of bad decisions to be made by some very good people. And I'm not blaming these folks, but I guess I could.
The people on stage,
people are making very bad decisions right now. And if anything comes out of this whole thing with some of these nasty and ridiculous questions, I will tell you, you better get rid of the super PACs because they're causing a big problem with this country. Not only in dishonesty and what's going on, but also in a lot of bad decisions that are being made for the benefit of lobbyists and special interests.
Hold on. Just a minute. Let me follow up on this. You had talked a little bit about Marco Rubio. I think you called him Mark Zuckerberg's personal senator because he was in favor of the H-1B.
I never said that.
So this was an erroneous article the whole way around?
I said another gentleman in Florida who happens to be a very nice guy, but not...
My apologies. I'm sorry.
I'm really doing some bad facts.
I've been mentioned. Can I respond?
Yes, you may.
The Democrats have the ultimate super PAC. It's called the mainstream media.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's an explosion.
She said, and I know the article she's talking about, actually.
Okay.
Because I came across them.
Okay.
And this has been weeks ago. But she's saying that the article she saw by The Onion, that it said that Donald Trump calls Marco Rubio Mark Zuckerberg's personal secretary.
Okay, or personal senator.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Okay. Personal senator.
Okay.
She said personal secretary.
She said secretary?
Yes.
I thought she said senator.
Did she say senator?
I thought she said senator.
All right, I give her the benefit of the doubt. If she said senator, she said.
I thought she said senator.
Okay, so she throws that out there, and he says, not true. Well, I read it somewhere. You people make this stuff up all the time.
You guys make it up. You guys are lying in the news all the time. What am I supposed to do? I'm not supposed to answer to your lies.
Right. Right. And so she could have been telling the truth. The article could have been real.
But by the time they finally made up for it, see, when I was, I don't know if it doesn't matter if you don't have the soundbite, but like 5 minutes later, they said, okay, I have the paper here. One of my producers ran over.
No, they did.
Yes.
No, they didn't.
Sir, Mr. Trump, you said it on your website. And he said, oh, whatever. hey, we're gonna make America great again. And by the time, you know what it is when you're on the playground and somebody really gives you a zinger,
right,
and you're just blasted. You could blast them right back, and you get the better of it.
Right.
But what happens a lot of times?
And you go
home,
right,
and you think of the best comeback line ever.
And then you come back the next day. It doesn't matter. It's over with.
If you attempt to try to come back with a comeback line the next day, you're going to be laughed off the playground.
Yeah.
But you know better, so you never say anything, and you're like, why didn't I think of that right at the moment? I could have zinged him.
And that's when you get to be wise and older, and you have all those zingers locked and loaded in your back pocket, ready to nail somebody with.
Right. So that's what she attempted to do, and by this time, it was...
Kids on the playground were like, go home, sister.
Right. That's pretty much what happened. So
that is an absolute travesty, the way they did this. And check this out. I started looking for clips, and I came across a bunch of sound clips of CNBC on their website, CNBC website.
Which means they were probably very... highly edited.
You would think.
Okay.
But one of them was titled Funniest Moments.
Oh, boy.
And another one was titled Who Won?
Oh, well, we know who lost. CNBC.
CNBC lost.
They're the big loser in this one.
Oh, these people, they were talking about CNBC and the viewership that they have lost. They dipped below MSNBC.
How many pages did you give me?
It should be 6. You've got last week's in there, too.
Oh, because there's a lightning round in here, too.
7?
That's
6.
like 7.
6 should be 6. 6 pages of lightning
7.
round. 6 pages of lightning round, 7 pages of real
we better get going on lightning round then. All right, so here's my take. I watched the debate from beginning to end. Right off the bat, and Trump picked up on this before I even did. The very first question to Trump was extremely...
I've got that.
Okay, you want to play
Yeah,
it?
you want me to play that one?
Yeah.
This sets the tone for the entire... This sets the tone for the entire debate.
Right.
Mr. Trump.
Yes.
You've done very well in this campaign so far by promising to build a wall and make another country pay for it.
Right.
Send 11 million people out of the country.
Right.
He didn't say
cut
right
taxes
that.
$10 trillion without increasing the deficit.
Right.
And make Americans better off because your greatness would replace the stupidity and incompetence of others.
That's right.
I'm not sure. He did say that's right. So he is kind of verifying. Okay. And I don't know if he was saying stupid. First of all, you shouldn't use the word stupidity in that line of work at that level.
No.
It's just when somebody else says stupid and if you want to use a direct quote, that's fine. What he said was the word stupidity.
I would have used incompetence.
Right. If he used the word stupidity because that was an exact word out of Donald Trump's mouth, he should have used an exact quote, but he did not do that.
He didn't quote. I'm quoting you, Trump.
I'm quoting you. I'm quoting you.
You're calling these people stupid.
But he didn't do that. He didn't do that. And so the whole thing stinks of unprofessional unprofessionality, if that's even a word. I don't know. But
let's be honest. Is this a comic book version of a presidential campaign?
It's not a comic book, and it's not a very nicely asked question the way you say that.
It's correct.
Right. Larry Kudlow, as an example, who I have a lot of respect for, loves my tax plan. We're reducing taxes to 15%. We're bringing corporate taxes down, bringing money back in, corporate inversions. We have $2.5 trillion outside of the United States, which we want to bring back in. As far as the wall is concerned, we're going to build a wall. We're going to create a border. We're going to let people in, but they're going to come in legally. They're going to come in legally.
That sounds
and it's something
great.
that can be done, and I get questioned about that. They built the Great Wall of China. That's 13,000 miles. Here we actually need 1,000 because we have natural barriers. So we need 1,000.
Mountains.
We can do a wall. We're going to have a big, fat, beautiful door right in the middle of the wall. We're going to have people come in, but they're coming in legally.
Apparently,
and Mexico is going to pay for the wall.
Right.
Because Mexico, I love the Mexican people. I respect the Mexican leaders. But the leaders are much sharper, smarter, and more cunning than our leaders. And just to finish, people say, oh, how are you going to get Mexico to pay? A politician, other than the people on this stage, I don't want to insult, a politician cannot get them to pay. I can. We lose. We have a trade imbalance.
But
with
Mr.
Mexico.
Trump, hold on a
So they're
second,
cutting him off now.
$50 billion.
We're at 60 seconds. We're at 60
Believe me,
seconds.
the wall is peanuts by comparison.
We're at 60 seconds, but I got to ask you, you talked about your tax plan.
Here it is.
You say that it would not increase the deficit because you'd cut taxes $10 trillion and the economy would take off like, hold on. The economy would take off like a rocket ship.
Right, dynamic.
I talked to economic advisors who have served presidents of both parties. They said that you have as much chance of cutting taxes that much without increasing the deficit as you would of flying away from that podium by flapping your arms really hard.
Then you have to get rid of Larry Kudlow, who sits on your panel, who's a great guy, who came out the other day and said, I love Trump's tax plan.
John,
Thank you,
Mr. Trump, John, listen,
here's the point I wanted to make. I've heard, you heard the soundbite there. You heard two questions in one soundbite. And here's the thing.
Disgustingly rude.
It's rude. It's disrespectful. And all the experts I've heard all week said either if they defend CNBC, they say they're hard questions. They're tough questions. And these guys running for president need to be prepared to answer and be okay with answering tough questions. It wasn't about tough questions. I'm going to tell you right now, those questions really weren't even anywhere near as hard as the ones coming from the Fox News debate. And I'll even give Anderson Cooper and his panel some credit. They had some good, hard questions. And I thought, even right after the debate was over, I was content with the fairness coming out of CNN. And I'm not saying that these were necessarily unfair questions. They were disrespectful.
Oh,
period.
Yeah, at every level, trying so desperately hard to discredit each and every one of them and just to bring them down by disrespecting them.
That's right. So if they had something of substance that they could point out that would bring a candidate down, that's fair game.
Right.
Marco Rubio, you were part of the Gang of Eight. When you came out of the smoke-filled room with your Gang of Eight amnesty bill, you supported amnesty. There are a lot of people in your party that are really angry about that. What can you say to them
about you supporting amnesty?
Yeah, are you still for the Gang of Eight bill?
Right.
And if not, why did you do that? And why would you? And what happened that made you change your mind? Did you get strong-armed? To me personally,
right.
I feel like he was young. He's like the youngest guy in the entire smoke-filled room.
They even said that to him too. Hey, Marco Rubio, aren't you a little young? Don't you think you should have waited?
I feel like they took him and they said, "Listen, you're kind of young. You got to learn from us. You're gonna learn from us. Here's what you do. You support us now, and we'll pat you on the back. You'll be good. You'll be good. You'll be good." So he comes out thinking. I don't know what he was thinking, but it was a hard lesson.
I'm part of the team.
Or did he say, is it part of his principles that people should just be flooding across the border because this is the land of milk and honey, and that people who don't get milk and honey in other countries shouldn't be barred from coming in here because that wouldn't be fair? And what people don't realize, and I'm getting way off on a tangent here, but what Marco Rubio and a lot of other amnesty people don't realize is there's a reason why this is the land of milk and honey.
Right.
It's because of what we build, the ideology, the Constitution.
Freedom.
The government in general.
And the fact that we didn't have a tyrannical federal government.
Dictator
that was,
whatever.
The federal government is now larger.
It's a Leviathan.
Yes, it's bigger than anything anybody could have ever imagined. And it was
We're really close to full communism.
Right.
We have enough of the socialist puzzle pieces in place that, okay, when you're doing a puzzle, at some point when you're doing the puzzle, you're like, I can kind of see what this might be.
Right.
I can see it now. I know what this is. I just have to get the rest of the pieces to make it complete.
Correct.
I can see communism now.
Oh yeah, they've got the complete border all the way around
and
of the puzzle.
Right, and the hammer and sickle are visible. There's just some pieces missing.
Right. But the whole thing is literally together. There's no question about it.
Just some chunks missing.
So now you and the media, God bless them for helping putting that puzzle together.
So the one side says it's hard questions and they need to know it, and they need to be able to answer these hard questions, and it's not about the hard questions. It's not about substance. I thought that some of the questions they asked were substantive. That's fine. You can't be that disrespectful. And you know why they were. They wanted everybody watching. And by the way, know your audience. If you're going to host the Republican primary debate,
Democrats aren't watching.
Not very many.
No.
You're going to have a horde, a giant, huge audience of nothing but conservative Republicans. You're just going to pee them off.
And if they really thought that they were going to tick off the Republicans and in the sense of not liking the candidates, they'd have lost their mind.
They definitely lost their mind.
Ben Carson, nice guy. I know there's a lot of people on the net that no, it's not possible. No, Louis Farrakhan's involved with him, some other things. You know, there's some things that just have to be vetted out. However, they took Ben Carson and they tried to take him out at the knees.
By doing what?
With the cancer question. Curing cancer. And I've got that. It's a 1-minute clip. I'll play that real quick, and you'll see the audience comes to save Ben Carson. The audience saves him.
I have something to say. I can elaborate on that. But
there's a company called Manatech, a maker of nutritional supplements.
I think it's
with
an
which you
MLM.
have a 10-year relationship.
Yeah.
They offered claims that they could cure autism, cancer. They paid $7 million to settle a deceptive marketing lawsuit in Texas, and yet your involvement continued. Why?
Well, that's easy to answer. I didn't have an involvement with them. That is total propaganda. And this is what happens in our society. Total propaganda. I did a couple of speeches for them. I did speeches for other people. They were paid speeches. It is absolutely absurd to say that I had any kind of a relationship with them. Do I take the product? Yes. I think it's a good product.
To be fair, you were on the homepage of their website with the logo over your shoulder.
If somebody put me on their homepage, they did it without my permission.
Does that not speak to your vetting process or judgment in any way?
No, it speaks to the fact that I don't know that it's going on.
Okay, here's what nobody's been able to explain why everybody booed.
They know.
They know. And I had to listen to the words several times. You might want to back it up to right where he asked the last two questions.
There's a company called Manatech website with the logo over your shoulder.
Right. If somebody put me on their homepage, they did it without my permission.
Does that not speak to your vetting process or judgment in any way?
Okay. No, here, listen carefully. See if you can figure it out. You're on their homepage with their logo over your shoulder. He responds by saying, if they did that, or if somebody has my image on their website, they did that without my permission. His very next follow-up question was, does that say something about your vetting, your ability to vet people? So what's wrong with that?
What, you don't vet a person that stole your picture and put it on their website.
And I'll make it even simpler for you. It's a non sequitur.
Right.
He had the follow-up question before he knew what Ben Carson was going to say. And when the audience heard him try to blast him for his vetting process, he said, they did it without my permission. How do you vet somebody
without your knowing that they stole something? There isn't a vetting process.
Exactly. So he had a non sequitur set up, not knowing that he was going to deny that he gave them permission. He came out with a follow-up that was a non sequitur. And the audience may not have known consciously.
Subconsciously, they knew.
When you hear a non sequitur, you do not need to consciously understand, hey, that's a non sequitur. I better boo. No, your brain does it automatically.
And it's like, no, whoa, dude, that's wrong. I don't know why it's wrong. I know that's wrong.
Dude, that doesn't sound right. Boo.
Right.
That's exactly what happened.
And then Ben Carson looks at the commentator and says, yeah, they know.
Right, because
the people know.
Ben got really defensive when really he could have said, What are you talking about? I just told you that I didn't give them permission to put my name up, or my image up there, and now you're asking me about my vetting process? What is your major malfunction? Right. Did your parents have any children to live? That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Wow.
And that's why I need to run for president. I would say that.
And if you're Debbie Wasserman Schultz, this week she came out and said her babies that she has, her children, when they were in her womb, were not human.
Oh, you know what? That is the only way.
She's right. Because she's not human either.
That's true. Because what is it? What does God say? That you give birth to your own kind, your own type of animal, whatever. So animals.
Right. She's an alien.
Whatever she is, she's not human.
No, she's not human.
So obviously, whatever she's giving birth to is not human either. So, yeah.
Good time.
Anyway.
Woo! So you folks out there in Radio Land, you can obviously clearly hear how awful this debate went down.
Nobody pointed out the non sequitur there. Everybody's like, oh, they didn't like the way he was being mean to Ben. No, it wasn't. No. They did not. His question, doesn't that say anything about your vetting process? How is that even anywhere near as bad as some of the other questions? Right. Why did they boo? Why would they boo that question when they should have booed the comic book question?
Right.
And so the reason they booed that one is because everybody in the audience was like, what the hell kind of follow-up question is that?
It's a pre-printed teleprompter question.
Well, can we get off of it?
Follow-up.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is an MLM. There's a lot of people listening that don't have a clue about MLMs.
Well, I slipped down to Manatech there for a minute.
Oh, Manatech? Really?
I didn't buy into it.
Well, let's talk in general, not just Manatech. I'm talking. It doesn't matter that it was Manatech.
Right, and
it
you
could be
go
any MLM.
And for those you baby boomers that are listening, you know the two big titans, Amway and Herbalife.
Okay, yeah.
You know both of them.
Big titans.
They've been around forever. And the way that you get in is you buy in under a friend and you become a distributor and you distribute the product.
By the way, knowing what we know about MLMs, because we have our experience in it.
Oh, we've run headlong into bridge and button.
So would you answer me, Brian, could he get in trouble by saying I had no involvement in them when if he was a distributor, he signed a contract that made him an independent distributor? Which means he did have an involvement.
Well, I honestly believe that if he said, because some of the MLMs we've been involved with, they would bring in high-end speakers, motivational speakers that would come in and
he says
speak
he takes
to
the
him.
Product. You're telling me
he did say that though.
Yes,
he did say.
He said he still takes the product,
and I like it too.
Okay. You're telling me that he buys it from somebody else, from a distributor, and he didn't become a distributor himself and just buy it himself. That's the thing about MLMs.
He could be. Well, some of the MLMs, there's two different versions. You can be a consumer, or you can be a distributor.
Yeah, like Advocare has a strong. There's a strong part of it where you can actually buy from a distributor.
Right.
But
as a
most
consumer
of them, and this is kind of the scam.
They all suck into the distributor. You're a distributor.
Well,
remember,
they make it so that not becoming a distributor is practically cost prohibitive to use the product. The only way to use the product at a reasonable rate is to become a distributor.
Right.
And so I would have to know more about that particular MLM to know whether or not it would even be realistic for Ben Carson to say, yeah, just send me the product and give me a bill.
Yeah.
Or I'll be a distributor and I'll buy my own product.
Manatech.
I mean, even Amway. Dude, the big thing about Amway was become a distributor and you'll get all of your own personal products at wholesale. So, so even Amway.
Right. Well, oh no, I thought Manatech came up with.
Well, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm saying in general.
I thought they came up with that FDS thing. That what was that thing that Lance Armstrong was promoting there for a minute?
Ooh, was that an MLM?
Oh yeah,
that was like an individual. Was it steroids? Is that it was needles.
Needles in a can.
Right.
They send you an energy drink looking can, and it's really high-end steroids
with the needles. Yeah.
Oh.
They get you on an auto ship.
And the whole with the whole package to teach you. And the thing behind Lance Armstrong, if you're not privy, is that he would take his blood out of his body.
Oh, that's right.
When he was normal, calm, healthy, just walking around the house, and your blood is completely full of oxygen, very healthy blood. Take that out of his body, put it in bags, store it, and then over the days, your body builds that blood back up. So when you're riding a bike at 180,000 miles an hour, you're depleting all your blood of oxygen.
Right.
And so that's why you fatigue, your muscles get sore, you get tired, you start to slow down. Well, when he would take his break and slow down, they would take the bad blood out of his body and put that fresh oxygenated blood back in.
That is so messed up. You would think that somebody could, little complications, end up dead. When you take blood out of your body?
Oh, I'm sure.
Especially a lot. And you know that they want to push the envelope. Let's get as much blood exchange as possible.
Well, he did say that the Michael Jackson's doctor was forbidden to be on his team.
Oh, I could see that, because that could be a problem.
He said, I'll be able to sleep on my own. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
You having trouble sleeping? Are you sleeping
Not
okay?
anymore. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
I just want to make sure you're sleeping okay.
I'm good.
Woo.
Too soon?
No.
No, it's not.
It's like 2009. That was like 6 years ago. Wow. Michael Jackson would be 56.
Oh, wow. That is amazing.
So anyway.
So
I just want to know if okay, let's say the field gets whittled down, and then we end up with Carson. Are all of a sudden the attack ad's going to come out, and they're going to blow him up about saying he had no involvement with this MLM, when come to find out he was a damn distributor?
Well, I mean, you could be when he says involvement.
Matter. I know what you're doing. You're about to explain away, but
I'm not explaining.
Information voters aren't going to know that.
I know. I am explaining away, because if he was a distributor, that doesn't mean he had control or back end control or consented to their statements of cancer.
They asked him if he was ever involved in it. He said, no, that's a lie. It's
At
propaganda.
what level?
Doesn't matter. Or have you ever been involved with this company?
Google Manatech.
Yeah.
MLMs are huge.
I don't know anything about Manatech.
MLMs are huge. So when you Google an MLM name,
oh my gosh,
Amway, Amazon, or
Amazon. Yeah, that was right.
That pyramid scheme. Oh, I've got some dirty secrets about them.
About
Amazon?
Amazon?
I heard from a distributor.
A distributor of Amazon?
Somebody who was involved with them. Anyway, so when you Google their name, the very first things that come up are, if it's not a paid ad and their name, and they're new and up and coming, it'll be Amway scam. Something scam.
Of course.
This scam. Fraud.
Right.
Okay.
And the reason is because all MLMs compete with each other over distributors.
Right.
So immediately, as soon as somebody signs up for an MLM, they go out and they try to get their friends and family to sign on. They're going to run into somebody who is in a different MLM. And when they try to get them to defect and come over to their MLM, they say no. So they go home and they start a website hating on that MLM. That's exactly how it happens.
So you Google Manatech. What is the first thing that comes up?
Manatech scam. I'm sure.
Ben Carson.
Oh, well, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
I did not realize how huge that comment was, and then everybody was going to take it out of proportion. I just didn't understand. Okay, Manatech. Okay, so what? It's a health supplement company.
It's an MLM, and MLMs are MLMs.
Even
they're always going to be controversial.
Monavie was also a health company. They never put on their website, this will cure disease or treat or diagnose.
But if you went to any of their meetings, oh my gosh.
This woman.
I still can't believe this. Brian, tell him the story.
45-year-old, 50-year-old woman gets up on stage and says, I've been having problems with my hands for years and years and years. And when I was a little girl, this part of my finger just never grew back.
Well, what happened?
Something got chopped off, never grew back. I started drinking these bottles, and let me tell you, look at my finger now. It has grown back.
Oh, somebody shoo her off the stage.
Oh, my! Everybody was clapping and screaming, and she was never invited back to the stage again.
Yeah, no duh. There was stuff like that.
I know
cure cancer claims. of course, were
well, because they talked about antioxidants. And antioxidants defeat cancer.
Right, but the thing is the FDA is not going to allow that.
No, never.
They're not going to allow you to say it. I mean,
well, you could say it. Just hope nobody's recording.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of them are banking on. It's not just Monavie. It's all these MLMs. If it has anything to do with health, the stuff that they're going to claim that it cures are going to be unbelievable.
Some of the videos I put up on YouTube, and this was way back in the day, the tagline in the tags that I would tag to it were cure cancer.
Okay.
Or the tags were
cures cancer.
Cures cancer. Tags were helps diabetes. The tagline,
it cures diabetes.
Right.
Type 1.
Dude, they would come after me and they'd remove my videos. I'm like, no, that's the tag. That's not the title.
They removed your tag
because
video.
of the tagline.
Wow, that is rough.
Yes,
that's really rough.
Because and this was so early on that I don't think they understood what a tag was.
So they thought that by putting in the tag, you were making it the description.
Well, just like the whole thing with Twitter. You know, there are rules and regulations and unspoken rules, and there are unspoken things that if you like the tweet, retweet the tweet, or comment on the tweet or something else.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you really even have anything. You could not even like the comment.
Right. That's the thing. And you know they changed that. Before, you only had one option for retweet, and that was retweet. And
now you can retweet with a comment.
With a comment.
Right.
So if you find something that's so objectionable that you want everybody to see it, back in the day you would retweet that, and it was misleading because some people would say, why is Brian retweeting that communism is great? Why would he do that? What? I know Brian doesn't think it's right. Well, now he could retweet that and say, look what this knucklehead wrote.
Right.
But that's a new change. That's like a couple months old. Wow, that's a new update. But anyway.
So in the comments that Megyn Kelly was making, they said that Jeb Bush slipped on a banana peel and some awesome sauce.
He slipped on the banana peel and did a back smacker onto a pool of awesome sauce.
Right.
Okay.
That was filled up by the moderators. So he actually joined their camp at one point in time.
Okay.
And I've got a soundbite of Jeb and Rubio.
Because I'm a constituent of the senator, and I helped him, and I expected that he would do constituent service, which means that he shows up
This is from
to work.
the CNBC.
He got endorsed by the Sun Sentinel because he was the most talented guy in the field. He's a gifted politician. But Marco, when you signed up for this was a 6-year term. And you should be showing up to work. I mean, literally, the Senate, what is it, like a French work week? You get like 3 days where you have to show up. You can campaign, or just resign and let someone else take the job. There are a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck in Florida as well. They're looking for a senator that will fight for them each and every day.
I get to respond, right?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Well, it's interesting. Over the last few weeks, I've listened to Jeb as you've walked around the country and said that you're modeling your campaign after John McCain. That you're going to launch a furious comeback the way he did by fighting hard in New Hampshire and places like that, carrying your own bag at the airport. You know how many votes John McCain missed when he was carrying out that furious comeback that you're now modeling it under?
He wasn't my
No, Jeb, I don't remember.
Senator.
Well, let me tell you, I don't remember you ever complaining about John McCain's vote record. The only reason why you're doing it now is because we're running for the same position, and someone has convinced you that attacking me is going to help you. Here's the bottom line. My campaign is going to be about the future of America. It's not going to be about attacking anyone else on this stage. I will continue to have tremendous admiration and respect for Governor Bush. I'm not running against Governor Bush. I'm not running against anyone on the stage. I'm running for president because there is no way we can elect Hillary Clinton to continue the policies of Barack Obama.
Okay, so basically, and I didn't know this, but Rush Limbaugh pointed this out earlier in the week. Jeb projected, or I guess that's the word I'm looking for. He projected this attack. He said it earlier in the week that he was going to attack. Now, he wasn't just going to attack Marco Rubio, but he was going to attack him on this point. So it gave Marco Rubio the whole week to come up with a perfect response, and you could tell by how calm he was when he said,
he knew what was coming.
I get to respond, right?
Right.
And she was like, yes, you can respond. Boom! Well, he had that thing lock, stock, and barrel.
Well, what's funny is the Sun Sentinel did publish an article or some sort and said Senator Marco Rubio should do his job as senator or resign and stop cheating the state. The Sun-Sentinel argues in an editorial slamming Rubio, often addressing him directly. If you hate your job, Senator, follow the honorable lead of House Speaker John Boehner and resign it.
So that's what they were referring to.
The Florida paper instructed in an editorial published Tuesday night.
And that's what CNBC moderator was referring to.
Correct.
Okay. So that just confirms my thoughts on the entire debate, which was that they scoured all print and wherever they could find anything that really, really, really hates on each and every one of these candidates. And they used that as a reference.
Right.
That's what they did. So they said, oh, this is the most hateful thing I've read about Marco Rubio. Let's reference it.
Right.
And for the purpose of making them the purpose that CNBC was trying to fulfill, their goal was to finish a 2-hour debate with each and every single candidate sustaining the maximum possible damage to their campaign.
Right.
And they tried their hardest. The problem is it was just too obvious. It may have been Rush again who pointed out that the only reason they're getting taken to the woodshed by the left now, which is very minimal, but they're not happy with the fact that it was too obvious. They should have made it more subtle.
That's true. No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, no, man. You guys jumped the tracks too hard.
Yeah, dude. Don't make it obvious. Come on.
we got to still fly a little under the radar, guys.
Right. So.
Well, they were Car Ferrari.
Carly Fiorina. Car Ferrari. Anyway,
she made a couple of.
Was she there?
She was there, and she made one huge slip up, and I didn't want to play the clip, but she said, "Oh, is it my turn? Now that I'm talking, people said I didn't smile enough in the last debate." So
that was her first thing that she said.
And so she looked at the camera,
and it was like real awkward.
It was a grimacing.
It was a grimace. She grimaced.
It was a grimacing
because it's painful for her to smile.
Yeah, she's stone. She's chiseled out of stone.
She is. Close your eyes. Picture her in your head. Now take John Kerry and give him hair. Dude, is it not her? John Kerry and Carly Fiorina.
If you've never seen the two of them,
person.
if you've never seen the two of them in the same room together, there's a reason.
Yeah, it's the same person.
It's the same.
It's John Kerry with a wig. Oh my gosh.
So
do you know that was the very, very, very first question? The first question was, what do you do? What do you guys do poorly, or what are you guys bad at? That's right. What's your biggest weakness?
Well, they said I didn't smile, so look at my grimace.
I'm going to grimace right now and call it a smile.
Dude, it was so creepy. It was like, well, you folks know, if you have ever looked in a mirror or when you buy a cell phone and you take your very first selfie.
Which, by the way, I've never taken a selfie.
I never have either. I've tried to, and I'm like, this don't work. That don't work.
Camera adds 20 pounds.
It does. So I'm all of 150.
Wow.
Plus some.
Oh, I was going to say
150 plus 150.
Every time I hear that phrase, the camera adds 10 pounds or whatever, I always, for the rest of my life, remember the joke from the sitcom Friends.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Monica used to be fat back in the day. She's skinny as a rail the entire thing. But whenever they do flashbacks, Monica's fat.
They show her in the fat suit.
Yeah, she wears a fat suit for the old school video or flashbacks. Somebody said, somebody was like, "Oh my gosh, Monica!" And Monica, by the way, they were watching a videotape from back in the day,
right?
And of course, there's Monica Huge, and somebody said, "Monica, that's you." And she goes, "Knock it off. The camera adds 10 pounds. And then he follows up by saying, "How many cameras were on you?" And I just couldn't stop laughing, and ever since then, whenever I hear how many cameras were on you, ever since then, when I hear I know.
It's hysterical.
How many cameras were on you?
See, I wasn't I didn't watch Friends, but it's good that you did because
that is a good
I never
one.
heard that before.
There's
that
a lot of
hysterical.
good jokes in Friends, but that was the one. Anytime I hear the camera adds 10 pounds, I always think of that joke.
So I don't know if it was the Huffington Post or one of these oddball websites that were trying to bash Carly Fiorina.
Fiorina, you're gonna.
I'm even trying to do it.
If
right.
she becomes our president, I don't know. We're gonna have to discontinue the show.
I know, or I will continue to call her Car Ferrari.
All right, Carly Fiorina.
They asked her a question, and she went off on her little answer, and they were complaining that in her answer, and I'm going to play it for you, so see if you can find it.
Okay.
It's like Easter egg hunting.
Do I have to hear it first, or are you going to tell me what it is, and then?
No, I'm not going to tell you. You got to hear it first.
Right.
Y'all play the soundbite, and the left-wing newspapers were angry that Quick, the moderator let Car Ferrari off on saying a lie.
Okay.
A flat out. And I'm like,
so I got to hear the lie.
And I was like, whoa.
I got to catch. The Easter egg is that I'm looking for a lie.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, a flat out lie?
Well.
And I was like, oh.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay.
Let's see if I can catch it.
Let's see if maybe it might not even
I got to put my thinking cap on.
Might not even be a lie.
So I have to guess what they think a lie is.
And,
okay.
And if it is a lie or not.
Okay. Thanks, Becky. It is the height of hypocrisy for Mrs. Clinton to talk about being the first woman president when every single policy she espouses and every single policy of President Obama has been demonstrably bad for women. 92% of the jobs lost during Barack Obama's first term belonged to women. Senator Cruz is precisely right. 3 million women have fallen into poverty under this administration. The number of women living in extreme poverty is the highest level on record. I am a conservative because I know our values, our principles, and our policies work better to lift everyone up, men and women.
Thank you, Mrs. Fiorina. Carl?
Okay, so she threw out a lot of stats there, which could be not accurate, but I have a sneaky suspicion which one they tried to say, because it was the only stat that you could lie about her lying about.
Right.
Which was, and I'm throwing out a guess here, that 90% of all jobs lost were women.
92, she said 92% of
all
jobs lost
belong to women.
In his first term, in all 4 years of his first term.
Because the other stats
were women.
The other stats are clear and cut and dry, and either you're right or you're wrong. But here's the thing. I am an amateur statistician, and I'm a math genius, humbly speaking. And when it comes to dynamic math questions or statements involving complex math concepts, I can help you cut through the crap. Because what happens is if you add one additional layer to a stat, which this is a multi-layered stat she threw out there. If you add one layer to it, the left can lie to you about it.
Right.
And that's a multi-layered stat to say that 92% of all jobs lost. So here's do I have to guess what I think they're going to say that's wrong?
No. You can whatever you feel.
Do you have what they said in response to it?
Well, I'm on Mother Jones's website.
Oh my God, Mother Jones! That is like the Onion site for Hitler and Mao and Stalin. That's what that is. It's literally, it's Stalin's. If Stalin was still alive today and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics was still around, Mother Jones would be the Onion site for them.
Right.
Under them, under their regime. But anyway, my guess, if I had to guess what they were going to lie to us about her lying about, was that she lied by saying 92% of women lost their jobs or something stupid like that, which is obviously a lie and is not anything of what Carly Fiorina said. What she said is, of all the jobs lost, 92% of them were owned by women. That means not everybody, just the ones that were lost, 92% women. That sounds like an extraordinary stat. That many of all the people that lost their jobs under Barack Obama, 92% of them were women?
Right. That
just seems unbelievably extraordinary.
Well, and they even say here on Mother Jones's website, because I find it amazing.
Did you find what they said in response to that?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Okay.
It's not actually an original line. The Republican National Committee developed the statistic when Mitt Romney ran against Obama in 2012. The fact checkers found that while it's not totally untrue...
so it's true. It's true.
It's quite deceptive.
It's true. Literally, they had no choice but to admit it's true.
So this is on Mother Jones's website.
Dude, you know they were holding their nose when they wrote that.
Right.
They're like, oh, it's technically true. However, it's just not right that she said it, and she shouldn't say it. You know why? Because it's Barack Obama and his crap doesn't stink.
Right. So between January 2009 and March 12, there was a net loss of 740,000 jobs. And during that time, women had a net job loss of 683,000, which is 92% of the total.
Well, so what she said was absolutely correct.
But fact checkers had several issues with the 92% number. In particular, when it's applied as a measure of Obama's policy. The actual job losses associated with the Great Recession.
She didn't say that, though.
Mother Jones is calling it the Great Recession of 2007.
Oh, that's because Barack Obama wasn't in... It wasn't... Listen, that is revisionist.
See, look, she said actual job losses associated with the Great Recession started in 2007.
People... Nobody lost their jobs in 2007. I remember in 2007 being concerned about the economy. That's all it was. The economy was going gangbusters in 2007.
And by January 2009, the nation was hemorrhaging jobs. But soon, the economy recovered.
Wow, to call it the Great Recession of 2007 is the biggest revisionist. It's a complete lie.
We
were going gangbusters in 2007.
Mother Jones is saying after 2009 we recovered.
What? That's when we started. That was the very start of the big Great Recession.
Job losses.
It's a depression, by the way.
The job losses hit men first and much harder. But jobs also started coming back to them sooner and stronger. So in total, the run-up to 2012 election, when Mitt Romney first used the stat, 5 million jobs were lost since the start of the recession, of which 1.8 million were held by women. But many of these job losses by men occurred before Obama came to one of the women.
Do you know what it sounds like? I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I'm gonna go ahead and rephrase exactly what they said.
Okay.
What they said was everything Carly Fiorina said was true, but we're going to muddy the water and lie and make it sound like it's misleading by misleading you. We're going to mislead you into believing that what she said, and we're going to throw all kinds of crazy numbers out at you, but if you dissect everything that they said, they're verifying that what she said was absolutely true. And that's not spin.
Why would they try? Why would you... folks,
they're mad. They're mad that she said it.
Folks out there in Radio Land, 772-49 Smith.
Okay.
SMYTH, calling now. I take like I don't even know how to
out, man.
I don't even know how to say it. Like these people, they could have taken anything else. Why did they go after this?
That is interesting.
You tried to tell me earlier, Brian. I know you're trying to not spin it away, explain it away for Ben Carson. They took this. Oh, we'll explain this one away.
Yeah, you know what it is? It really jabbed them hard. It was a dagger in the side.
They took the wheel, jerked the four-wheeler off into the woods, and said, "We're going to get through this alive." What? Why? Stay on the road.
But
why are you off in the woods?
They picked this to respond to because it stung the hardest. This one stung for them.
Oh, because of fact?
Well, first of all, they're trying their hardest to continue the fake narrative of war on women by conservatives.
Right. No, that's the powering up of our...
Bo Snerdley is blowing me
our
off.
sound system. Dude, who is... What's Bo doing? Doesn't he know we have a show to do?
He is on a Twitter rampage.
Trump? Or
no, Bo Snerdley.
Snerdley.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh. Will you knock it off?
But why would they... You're saying that they picked this because this one sticks in their craw.
And their what?
Their craw. Their craw.
What is a crawl?
Sticking...
Can you close your eyes and imagine what that looks like?
Yeah, crawl. Stick in my crawl. C-R-A-W. Crawl. Stick in one's throat. Or, or crawl. To be difficult or impossible to accept.
Oh, yes. Well, no, and they didn't want to accept, but there's a reason why they didn't want to accept it. Because it hurt. It really hurt their soul. They have nothing. They can't win on the issues. They can't win on the stats. They can't win on the facts. So they have to just completely make up why they have to address this. 92% of those who lost jobs under Barack Obama were women, were held by women.
Dude, that's huge.
I honestly,
the problem is in total and in the overall 4 years, there were losses on both sides, men and women. Granted, flat out. However, the men who lost their jobs were able to recover faster than the women who lost their jobs. So at the finish line, at the end of the day, the men who lost their jobs gained them back, and the women never gained them back. And as Rush has pointed out, and other people have pointed out, and Mother Jones doesn't want to hear this, and a lot of the NARAL.
Mother Jones, if you're listening, go ahead and put it on mute.
Put it on mute right now. And the NARAL group, they don't want to hear this either. There was an overwhelming surge of women staying at home.
Ooh, that's going to sting.
To take care of their chitlins.
The chitlins. The chitlins.
So we even made it a point, my wife and I, we got hit really hard out in L.A. in 2008. It was in a construction company.
08.
Right. I had
not 07. We were fine in 07. We knew it was coming.
Right. Guys would talk about it in the construction industry, and I'm like, no. I'm on this positive mantra, like I believed in positive affirmations back then.
Secret.
Yeah, and I won't look at it, won't see it.
You need everybody else to do the secret, too.
Right, and nobody was doing it.
You're depending on them following the rules of the secret.
And they didn't. They all bought into the media's hype and lie, and then the housing economy of the government lie and hype, Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac.
Well, you want to put your tinfoil hat on real quick. They needed you to feel that way so that they could pass the stimulus, the $1 trillion stimulus.
Well, and that $1 trillion stimulus, this will stick in your craw. It's still being stimulated every year. It made its way in the budget.
Is that part
It's part of the budget.
Is that part of the thrill up Chris Matthews' leg?
Yes, Chris Matthews.
He got stimulated.
He did.
He got
by the stimulus.
Okay.
Whew, an hour 2. We will discuss. Whew. Yikes! So I mean, she was telling the truth. But they didn't want to hear.
But here, okay, I'm going to give Mother Jones a little advice. If you're going to be in the propaganda industry,
right?
I'm really disappointed. Maybe it's because their math isn't. They're not good at math, possibly.
Yes. I believe it.
If they were really clever, they could have went a different route. What they actually did was say, "Okay, Carly Fiorina was right, but it was misleading." That's all they said. What they should have said was, 92% of women didn't lose their job, which is true. 92% of women didn't lose their job.
That's
correct. What they should have said.
Wow.
That's what a true propagandist worth their salt would say.
See, and that's what makes us so good here on Smith Radio, because we
can
see through them.
I thought that's
and they didn't even go down that road.
No, they should have.
They should have.
It would have been more credible.
Because that's ridiculous, people. 92% of women
lost their job under Barack Obama? Come on, everybody knows that's a lie.
Not only is it a lie, but it's not even physically possible.
Isn't it?
How is it possible? 92% of all women? You're saying all women work?
Well, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, you got to be a little bit more...
They could have said 92% of all women that were working, 92% of all working women did not lose their job. That makes Carly Fiorina a liar.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that would be true if she said that, but she didn't say that.
No, she didn't.
She said 92% of those who lost their job were women.
Right.
So the propagandists, I'm really disappointed, Mother Jones. If you're going to lie, make it sound
a little bit better.
Well, say something that she said that she didn't say that would make it a lie if she did say. And that's what propagandists do, and I'm really disappointed they didn't go down that road.
So do you want
I was expecting it.
Right. So do you want to hear the montage of CNBC's Who Won or CNBC's debate funniest moments?
We're going to listen to both, right?
Sure.
How about funniest moments for 100?
No, I will take a bum cover for 100.
Bum cover?
He's like, no, it's album cover.
Oh, what was that from?
That was a Saturday Night Live skit on Jeopardy where Alex Trebek was
Will Ferrell. Oh, boy.
And he says, I'll take a, and then Sean Connery said, I'll take a bum cover. It's like, I've tried to invent a bum cover, but it never came out.
What? Okay, we'll get to that soundbite next week.
We're clearly not having that beer you mentioned, but I'll give you 30 more seconds.
But I'll buy a tequila.
Okay, all right.
Or even some famous Colorado brownies.
I'll give you 30 seconds to respond.
Whoa.
What should we do?
What we should do is to be investing in all types of energy, John. All types of energy. And I've laid out...
Meaning government?
No, John. John, do you want me to answer? You want to answer?
This is off their website.
What you're doing is called rude. So,
I made over $1 million on a book deal, and some of these problems came after.
And I use it to pay off my loans, and it's available on paperback if you're interested in buying it.
I love Donald Trump. He is a good man. I'm wearing a Trump tie tonight. Get over that one.
I'm wearing his underwear.
You're talking about fantasy football? Enough on fantasy football. Let people play. Who cares?
Early in my marriage, explaining to my wife why someone named Sally Mae was taking $1,000 out of our bank account every month.
That's a lot.
To be fair, you were on the homepage of their website with the logo over your shoulder.
If somebody put me on their homepage, they did it without my permission.
Does that not speak to your vetting process or judgment in any way?
No, it speaks to the fact that I don't know that it's going on.
How did he judge to let them steal his image?
See, they know.
So that was
they
on...
put the clown music in the background, and that was not an accident.
No, that was CNBC. I actually cut out the first...
Nice. What is that?
What the Chucky? Stop. Stop, Chucky. Stop.
She does kind of look like an old Chucky.
She does.
The hair and everything.
She, and I've got something to her this week. She was interrupted by Black Lives Matter.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they attacked her.
But they attacked Bernie Sanders a couple of months ago.
Right. So. People are saying hashtag feel the burn.
Oh, boy. I've seen that.
Hashtag feel the burn. So,
anyway.
So I had to cut out the first 20 seconds. It was a musical. It's a musical, and it's called The Funniest Moments.
And 20 seconds
on CNBC.
It sounds like real sitcom-y.
Yes, they were trying to do a reality show.
Not even a reality show. It sounded like, hey, this fall, tune in to our brand new comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I don't get it.
I get it.
Oh, okay. All right, so this is the CNBC Who Won montage.
Let me tell you, Donald Trump would be a better president every day of the week and twice on Sunday rather than Hillary.
She won't get within 10 miles of the White House. Take it to the bank.
I trust people too much. When they let me down, if they let me down, I never forgive.
Well, gee, after the last debate, I was told that I didn't smile enough.
When people ask me, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that Medicare's broken, out of money, that Social Security's broken, out of money? And I say, look, it's not Republicans' fault. It's not Democrats' fault. It's your grandparents' fault for having too many damn kids.
If you saw that blimp that got cut loose from Maryland today, it's a perfect example of government. They couldn't get rid of it because we had too much money invested in it, so we had to keep it. That is our government today. We saw it in the blimp.
The Senate, what is it, like a French work week? You get like 3 days where you have to show up?
Super PACs are a disaster. They're a scam. They cause dishonesty. And you better get rid of them because they are causing a lot of bad decisions to be made by some very good
music
people.
in the background?
And I'm not blaming these folks, but I guess I could.
The Democrats have the ultimate super PAC. It's called the mainstream media.
You find a Democrat that's for cutting taxes, cutting spending $10, I'll give them a warm kiss.
We have $19 trillion in debt. We have people out of work. We have ISIS and Al-Qaeda attacking us. And we're talking about fantasy football?
Everybody said it was going to be 3 hours, 3.5, including them. And in about 2 minutes, I renegotiated it down to 2 hours so we can get the hell out of here. Not bad.
That sound music went on and on and on. From the beginning, I cut it all out so we could start off with them talking. And it went on. And what is that? It's a game show music. It's like, no. It reminds me of that one, Love Show. Love, where the couples where they first get married. Newlyweds. Newlyweds.
Oh, the Newlywed Game.
The Newlywed Game. That was the soundtrack for the Newlywed Game.
It's so disrespectful. It's a big joke to them.
And this is on their this is on CNBC's website. You can see it. But I will warn you. If you go on their website to watch a video, before the video starts, you will see an hour worth of commercials to watch a 30-second video.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's really annoying.
And they got the same one looping over now. Katie Couric and the other black guy, not the one that lost all the weight.
I have no idea.
Anyways, why we don't even watch that show.
No,
I don't even know.
It means nothing to me.
They're showing them in this video, in this commercial, 21 years ago, and he's like, Katie, what is at symbol?
Oh,
what is the at symbol? What is internet? What is an internet?
What is a .com? What is?
And so Katie's like, Stacy, can you tell me what the internet is?
Oh my god!
I guess that's her assistant or something, right? So now, fast forward 21 years, they're driving in a Beamer called an iBeam, iBeam something.
Okay.
What do you mean? There's nothing inside it. What do you mean?
There's no steering wheel?
And it's completely powered and charged up, made by windmills? What? The new BMW.
They're trying to send you the message that this is the future.
Right. The brand new BMW iBeam
is
something
that the
or
thing
other.
that drives itself? The Google car?
No, it doesn't drive itself, but it is completely all 100% electric carbon fiber body, and it's built in a factory that's powered by wind turbines.
How do you compare that crap? I thought you were talking about the Google car. If you were going to say that about the Google car, I'd be like, okay, I can see that.
It should be.
We are not going to have carbon fiber cars all over the road that you drive around, just like we drive around cars today, that are totally electric and that are built by windmills.
I'd like to see the cost analysis on that versus buying a Toyota.
Turns out, all the materials that it takes to build a windmill, it takes tons and tons and tons of coal.
Oh man, it does. Boy,
electric cars are coal fire cars, coal power cars.
Where I work at now, back in the day, they used to manufacture these big, huge, giant wheels for the turbine windmills. For all these windmills.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And they said, "Well, we had these everywhere. The whole place was loaded, front to back. We had the storm whip. It's just all kinds of stuff coming through here." I'm like, "What happened?" And everybody's like, "I don't know. we don't do them anymore. They're nowhere. We ain't got nothing to do with it."
Probably because there's no more room in the sky for them. If you've ever been to Palm Springs, there's like 100,000 square miles full of these windmills. You can't be a bird in that area.
That are killing endangered species.
Yeah, there's like eagles. There's like eagle carcasses all over the desert floor. And yeah, all kinds of stuff. Spotted owls.
So now we've got
feathers everywhere. Blood spattered on all the blades.
We've spent an extra $1 million per windmill to develop technology where the blades will turn when they see an oncoming object.
What?
No, I don't know. That would be good.
They put little reflectors on them.
So that at night when you're driving down the freeway, all you see is a big giant light in the sky. You're like, "Oh my god,
what is that?" It's like aliens or something,
right?
Anyway, if you're in the desert, it happens.
Okay, so to wrap this whole carnival up,
which they've made into a carnival,
the greatest soundbite of the night.
Okay,
who I think was the winner. In my mind.
He just summarized the whole thing, didn't he?
Yep, he sure did. Here you go. Yours and mine truly, Mr. Ted Cruz. Take it away.
Senator Cruz, congressional Republicans, Democrats, and the White House are about to strike a compromise that would raise the debt.
Okay, I left the question in on purpose.
I'm glad you did. I'd rather you do that.
Nobody, let me preface this for the folks there. Nobody is leaving the question in there.
No, they don't. And I want to comment on what really happened, and I need the question in the front to really do that. So go ahead.
Okay, do this again.
Cruz, congressional Republicans, Democrats, and the White House are about to strike a compromise that would raise the debt limit, prevent a government shutdown, and calm financial markets that fear of another Washington-created crisis is on the way. Does your opposition to it show that you're not the kind of problem solver American voters want?
You know, let me say something at the outset. The questions that have been asked so far in this debate illustrate why the American people don't trust the media.
Boom! Boom!
This is not a cage match. And you look at the questions. Donald Trump, are you a comic book villain? Ben Carson, can you do math? John Kasich, will you insult two people over here? Marco Rubio, why don't you resign? Jeb Bush, why have your numbers fallen? How about talking about the substantive issues people care about?
Listen to that crowd.
Does this count?
That's a rally.
Do we get credit for this one?
Do we get credit for this one?
No.
Carl,
and I'll tell you why.
I'm not finished yet. The contrast with the Democratic debate, where every fawning question from the media was, which of you is more handsome and wise?
So this is a question about the debt limit, which you have 30 seconds left to answer, should you choose to do so.
He lost his voice there for a second.
The men and women on this stage have more ideas, more experience, more common sense than every participant in the Democratic debate. That debate reflected a debate between the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks.
He just called them communists.
And nobody watching at home believes that any of the moderators has any intention of voting in a Republican primary.
Boom!
The questions that are being asked shouldn't be trying to get people to tear into each other. It should be, what are your substantive solutions to people?
I just want the record to reflect. I asked you about the debt limit, and I got no answer.
Okay, all right. You want me to answer that question? I'm happy to answer the question. I'm happy to answer your question, but let me tell you how the question is. Let me tell you how that.
We're moving on.
Let me tell you how that.
Senator Paul, I've got a question for you.
So
on
you
the
don't
same
actually
subject.
want to hear the answer, John?
Senator Paul,
you don't want to hear the answer. You just want to insult.
You used your time on something else.
Okay, so he said, I asked you a question, and he was being accused of not having substance in his question. I asked you a question about the debt limit, and you chose not to answer. Actually, he didn't ask him about the debt limit.
No.
Go to the beginning and just play the question, and we will tell you.
Senator Cruz, congressional Republicans, Democrats, and the White House are about to strike a compromise that would raise the debt limit, prevent a government shutdown, and calm financial markets that fear of another Washington-created crisis is on the way. Does your opposition to it show that you're not the kind of problem solver American voters want?
Okay.
The question was, since all these Democrats and Republicans came together to put together something that the power brokers, the people that seek power, will be able to take more power away from the people. Since you oppose that, does that mean that you are not, whatever he said,
power broker?
Well, you're
not the.
Play the end there again.
Senator Cruz, it's the fear of another Washington-created crisis is on the way. Does your opposition to it show that you're not the kind of problem solver American voters?
You're not the kind of problem solver American. And by the way,
that was the question. Not I asked you a question about the debt limit. No, you didn't.
No.
You asked him if he not whether
his
or not
opposition to the deal.
Right. It's one thing to say we're concerned about you being a problem solver in Washington because you oppose this consensus or whatever, this bipartisan deal to raise the debt limit. But we've talked on this show extensively and repeatedly about it's not about right and left. It's not about necessarily about capitalism, communism. What it really boils down to is people that are trying to seek power to have power over individuals and those who want to fight for individual freedom.
Right.
That's what we're really talking about. There, obviously, the entire left, the entire Democrat Party, all the communists, they're all for gaining as much power as possible.
Right.
On the Republican side, right now, about half of them are trying to gain as much power as possible to have power over you as the individual. The other half of the Republican Party, which is only barely over a quarter of all of them,
right,
are fighting for power of the individual. And so Cruz was asked, we have power, we have people trying to take power from individuals in the Democrat Party, and we have people that are trying to take power from everybody on the Republican side. They came together and compromised on a bill that was going to successfully suck as much power out of all of you as possible. So does your opposition to that show that you're not the kind of problem solver that we need in Washington? His opposition is solving the problem of the power brokers trying to take all the power from the individual.
So the big title of the week coming out of Breitbart, House passes monster budget deal. Monster.
By the way, the budget.
Debt limit increase, monster.
We've talked about how money, and it's been a long time since I've said this. Like when we first started this show, I pointed out that money is power.
Oh, yes.
Period.
Absolutely.
You've heard time is money. No. Well, if you're an hourly worker, yes, that's true. Time is money. And even if you're a contractor, you got to chart, you got to bill for your hours.
Right.
So time is money. However, it's power, it's work. When I do work for you and improve something for you, you need to transfer power from one person to another, and that goes in the way of money. I'll give you a perfect example. Here's a perfect example. I have the power to make you make a sandwich for me.
Ooh.
If you work at Subway.
Ooh.
I give you money, and you say, okay, I'll make you a sandwich.
Right.
And some people would say, well, I need $100 for me to make you a sandwich. Well, that's fine. That's your going rate.
Right.
But everybody has their price. It's all about power. So with the taxes, if I can consolidate as much of that money and siphon it my way as possible, I now have the power to do things because it's with the money.
Right.
And so that's what they want to do, and they want to take it from you so that you have less power. If you have, let's say that there's no taxes, which obviously would not be right because the government does need power to do some things. They need power to defend you with the military, that kind of stuff. But let's say we reduce the taxes down to hardly anything, and we get to keep that money. That's our power to do with it what we want.
And the more money they take away from us, the less power we as individuals have.
And then we have to rely on them for their power to do for us.
So when we say that we're completely against things like Obamacare, it's because they are literally taking power away from you
and the companies that provide healthcare insurance. They're taking all their power away.
So now they're getting involved and meddling with our with the greatest system ever put into play, capitalism. This capitalist country, the greatest healthcare system. We've invented so many new things.
Only capitalism made that possible.
Cured so many. Capitalism has cured more diseases and more cancer and prevented more deaths and prevented infant mortality rates have gone through the roof. Infant mortality rates have plummeted.
They have actually, if you consider abortion.
Yeah, well, they've gone through the roof at Planned Parenthood. But no, and this is all because of the power of the people to negotiate their own wages with that worker, to negotiate their own purchases. Like, I want to purchase this from an insurance company. I want this. I don't want this.
Or I want to develop a drug. I need the power to do the work to do that and get the facilities and all that kind of stuff. That's why drugs can be kind of costly, especially early on in their development before the generics come out and stuff like that. I'm just throwing that out there because you brought up Obamacare and healthcare.
And the reason why I brought up Obamacare is because that was something that tipped off the top of my head this week. The 10th co-op, they call them Obamacare co-ops. The 10th one this week failed and closed.
Oh,
10th one closed. It failed and closed. And all
because nobody wants to get involved in that socialism crap.
Your rates are going up thousands plus.
Oh, yeah.
And don't you tell me, and I know you're out there listening. I know you are. Just because your rate didn't personally go up at your job does not mean that the rates aren't going up somewhere else. Or somebody else isn't paying for it. I mean,
possibly your company could be eating that expense.
Course, it's possible.
Or
they may even split it.
Right. Yours might go up a little bit, but it really went up a lot. Your company may be covering it. And don't think, oh, well, that's nice of them. That's future. First of all, it may come down to layoffs, and you might be the victim of that. If not you, let's say you weren't the victim, you were lucky enough to keep your job. There could be future promotions, future raises. They're going to be less of that if your company has less money, i.e. power to do so.
And we have quarterly bonuses. They could easily take all that away just because of healthcare costs.
They could come out with a meeting and say, there's quarterly bonuses, you can't do it anymore.
No.
They're suspended indefinitely.
Right.
That could easily happen.
And so the ultimate goal of the Communist Party, the Democrats, is to go to single payer. They want this Obamacare to be a debacle, to be a mess.
So then they control all of it.
Right. The answer? Oh, we'll cure it. See, government creates a problem to then claim they have the cure for the problem.
Right.
Which is more problem. Which is more power for them and more problem for us.
And they're able to pull it off because they're successfully able. I mean, people can't pay attention to everything. They're just going to listen to the news.
It is a full-time job for us just to do this 3-hour show.
Yeah, and
we are literally plugged in all day, every day. We're talking to each other throughout the week. We're texting throughout the week.
And our nose is constantly in the news.
Right. And
we can't even pick it all up.
No. And it come Friday afternoon, and I'm thinking, oh, I've got this for the week. This is the show for the week. No!
Something else comes up.
Saturday happens, and then and somebody lets go a Zeppelin balloon.
Which actually did happen last Tuesday or something like that.
What was the news reporter that got suspended?
From
NBC lied? No, he lied. Yeah, he got suspended for 6 months. We're talking about
Williams?
Week. Yeah, Brian Williams was leading the news on the blimp.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
That was the joke that was out of Breitbart. That was the joke.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy. There's just so many different angles. And then you got Mother Jones, where it's so easy to talk about them because it's fun to expose the lies and the inconsistencies. Or it's actually – do you realize what we did in this episode?
What is that? Tell me.
We exposed the truth out of Mother Jones. They said the truth. We said, that's right, it is the truth.
And we told her what she should have said.
Well, yeah, if you're going to lie, come out and lie. Let's go.
Right. Let's
make it be credible.
Right. Mother Jones needs to learn how to spin it. better, twist it better. They're slipping.
If they need me to consult for them, that'll be $1.2 million a week.
Oh, nice.
Because hey, everybody's got their price.
And we'll reinvest that in Smith Radio.
That's right. That's right. They'll end up funding their own demise.
Oh, yeah. And not even know it. Because we spun it on them.
Yeah, but if they're greedy enough, they might not care. They're like, "Hey, I got my island."
Right, right. Oh, wow.
So that was the CNBC debate. I mean, it was all about disrespect or lack of respect. That's all it was. It wasn't hard questions. None of these guys had any trouble answering it. I did find it funny. The thing with the Ted Cruz, that was actually off the cuff. I didn't have that lock, stock, and barrel. But yeah, he didn't ask about the debt limit. He asked whether or not he was the kind of problem solver that Washington needs, since you oppose all the power-hungry people. I thought that was interesting. But anyway.
And speaking about that, the post-debate, they called it post-debate, quote, war on liberal media, has raised Ted Cruz $1.1 million.
Oh, they said within hours after the debate ended, he had $700,000 extra dollars come in.
Right.
Hours.
Wow.
A few hours after the debate. It was like he went home, he cracked open the laptop, powered it up, and said, "Oh, let's see how much.
How many likes I got."
And
he tracking the likes, tracking the views,
the campaign account.
You don't believe it.
$700,000. What?
Somebody made a mistake.
Somebody added a couple zeros or something.
Hey, did we have Hillary working on our campaign?
No, it was that Office Space scam. They take a couple cents off the top.
But it was a fraction of a fraction of a penny.
Right.
A fraction.
And there was a mistake in the code.
Right, they took it all.
Somebody's got to pay that back.
Right.
They'll just burn the whole building down. So if there's a fire in the Cruz campaign, we know what happened.
Right. Oh, wow.
I would love for him to be president. I think it would be great. I wonder what he would... He doesn't ever talk about immigration.
No.
I shouldn't say ever, but it's certainly not something that he wants to jump out on. And I think as long as Donald Trump keeps saying we have got to do something about the illegal immigrants in this country and has a realistic... I shouldn't say realistic. A strong, firm... I don't know if it's a stance or a program or policy on it, he's going to be the front runner.
Right.
Because that's right now, America is like, this is not working. We're losing our country. We have no sovereignty. This is our home. I mean, I treat and feel as if America is like my house, my home. I own it. I live here. I work for it. I want it to be the way that the founders wanted it to be. That's the reason we're here to begin with. Right. That's the reason America has gotten to be as great as it has over the 2+ centuries that we've been around. And I can see us losing it because as our borders get flooded with illegal immigrants, they're bringing over a culture and an ideology
that is not American.
It runs against the Constitution. It runs against free market capitalism. Not always. There are some people that come over that are like, well, I have all the beliefs of my ideology, but I'm for capitalism. I'm cool with capitalism.
Or, I got this thing called Sharia law.
Oh.
It's a law. It's a law, dog. We need to put it in play.
It sounds like you sound a little Mexican there. Mexican.
He's coming up from the border. From the border.
Oh, he learned the accent. He learned the accent.
He said, yeah, I need to keep my woman in line. Sharia law. All right, dog.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They're going to buy into Sharia law,
dog,
because it might benefit them.
Right.
Okay. All right. So there's that. Woo. But then the government program. So I'm going to go ahead and throw out to you, Brian, and the listeners, my steps that we need to take to deal with the immigration problem, illegal immigration problem.
Okay.
So first of all, obviously you need to build an impenetrable wall.
Well, and take
maybe a double wall.
Google Israel's wall. Israel has a wall.
Okay.
Google that wall. It is beautiful. What about the wall in the Vatican? Vatican has a wall.
Okay.
And let me tell you, these walls.
Berlin.
Whoa.
Whoa.
No, and when I say, no, maybe not. When I say wall, we're talking 40 foot high.
And
these things are huge.
Okay. A prison wall is tall enough. I don't even know if those are 20,
and here's
25,
here's the thing. The wall doesn't need to be impenetrable. It needs to be there as a deterrent for the majority of people that would just walk on through.
Right. And there needs to be an entire border patrol that is really organized and strong and well-funded, because they need to constantly be looking out for tunnels that might be dug under.
Well, they need to be supported by the government in doing what they do best, which is vetting out people.
Okay, now while the wall is being built, which by the way, I might even throw out there, this is controversial, people. You ready for the controversy?
Oh.
I might even offer amnesty to those who work X amount of a couple thousand hours on the wall.
I might be in your camp.
All right, but hold on, before we go there.
All right.
Before we go there.
All right.
Put out a hard and fast law with really, really harsh consequences. Employers must have verification of being here legally, whether green card.
They say that E-Verify was phenomenal.
Okay, so let's say E-Verify, or maybe even a government equivalent. E-Verify would be like a private.
Right.
If the government, if it's
no, I don't want the government. I want a privately funded.
If it's under national security, that we must verify that the people here are here legally and are whatever. If they need to do something like E-Verify for the government, it's like CIA, FBI.
Sure.
Would you abolish the FBI? Probably not. Well, that should be part of the FBI, their own little. But let's say they can get it done.
I'd like to
private.
abolish the TSA.
Me too. But they're not even. They're like a private organization.
They told a 90-year-old grandmother that she had to take her bra and her shirt off.
Well,
because she stuck money in her bra when she was traveling, so she wouldn't get robbed.
Well,
that's brutal.
All right. So anyway, E-Verify or something equivalent. Nobody in this entire country will be allowed without the threat of extremely stiff penalties for the company to hire anybody that's illegal.
And if you get caught hiring somebody illegal, knowingly or not knowingly, if knowingly, and it's provable knowingly, $25,000 fine first offense, $100,000 second offense.
You're assuming that there would be any way possible for you not to know. You have to send them through the E-Verify.
That's your only way out of being penalized, as if you did send them through E-Verify.
Oh, and it came back as
good
legal.
to go.
Okay,
and
but you would have the paperwork.
That's right.
That's fine.
Just like your taxes at the end of the year, H&R Block says we'll cover you up to $1 million in fees and fines if you do it with us, because we guarantee our system works.
Now, the big question, 14th Amendment.
You got to stop it. No country,
but
no
do you
country,
grandfather everybody in?
No, you're going to have to do something. But no country in the world allows the shenanigans. It is on purpose. Folks, if your child did something wrong and looked at you and said, I didn't mean to do that, but you know what do you mean you didn't mean to do that? I saw you walk over there, you looked around, you stuck your hand in the jar, you saw the cookie, you're like, I'm going to eat this, you ate it, and then I busted you and you say, oh, I didn't know I couldn't have one. No. You're pregnant, you jumped the border, and you spit out a kid. You know what you're doing.
Okay.
And you're pregnant, you board an aircraft, you're flying over American air, and you have the baby on the plane. That baby's now a citizen.
Yeah, well, that's got to stop.
That is absolute insanity.
Okay, Brian and I both agree that
rewrite it.
No,
not rewrite it. Do an amendment.
No. Some people say that as written, it doesn't allow for anchor babies. If that's the case, somebody needs to make a statement and it needs to be referred to for the rest of American history. That
Well, yeah,
the
yeah.
14th Amendment
Add an
does not-
amendment. Well, they would add an amendment, like you were telling me about prohibition. Prohibition is alcohol is prohibited in America.
But there's an argument that, as worded today,
Okay, no, hold on.
Okay,
the abolishment of alcohol, prohibition is in the paperwork. It's there.
yeah, and it's still there.
However, there's the amendment.
There's another amendment
to that,
right?
The 21st Amendment
that strikes down the previous amendment.
I think 19th Amendment,
18th,
something like that.
There's
Okay.
18th and 21st, I think.
Right.
So the 18th Amendment
says no alcohol
out. It's still there,
right?
But then the 21st said, "Oh, that 18th Amendment, just go ahead and ignore that."
Right.
Just ignore
So rule number 1: if you don't understand it, forget it. Rule number 2: if you get it, refer back to rule number 1. Anyway, so the whole point is add an amendment to the 20. Where are we at? The 14th Amendment.
400. Oh,
14th
yeah,
Amendment.
14th, yeah.
Add an amendment to the 14th Amendment that specifically says that if you
that the 14th Amendment refers to slaves,
only
slaves,
refers to free slaves,
right?
From 150 years ago, 100 years.
Or you could just strike it down and rewrite it. You could say 14th Amendment no longer applies. This is what I mean. There's
now,
several different
and
articles.
now we're 92nd Amendment to rewrite the 14th Amendment.
It's a cluster.
Boop. Right.
So anyway, so we address the 14th Amendment. I don't care whether or not it's rewritten or not, but it needs to be either verified that what it says does not apply to anchor babies. Okay. Or if it does apply to anchor babies, then rewrite it.
Right.
Okay. Once that's taken care of, now we have a ton of people where there is some really murky water. I know we don't believe in gray areas on Smith Radio.
No.
But there has been an illegal / amnesty program unwritten in America for decades and decades. There are anchor babies in America today who are in their 20s and 30s.
Oh, easily. Even older.
They've never been in any other country other than America for their entire life. They have children in America. And they think that they're a legal citizen because of their interpretation of the 14th Amendment. But what happened is their parents used them as an anchor baby.
I know some.
Okay. So
I know a lot of them.
What do you do with those people?
And let me tell you.
Okay, let's go to Magical Land. Let's go to Smith Radio Land. All right.
Alternate ending.
Here's the rules in Magic Land. The rules are we have a giant wall that separates us from Mexico and Canada. And you cannot get a job unless you're a citizen or you have a legal status green card.
Correct.
All right. And the 14th Amendment does not allow for anchor babies.
Correct.
What do you do with those that have lived their entire life? They can't get a job because
the
14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment.
Okay,
has been
back up. The people that I do know, and that's all I'm going to say, and I know a lot of them.
Okay.
Out in California.
You mean the whole state?
The whole state. The New Mexico.
Okay.
The New Mexico.
Uh-huh.
They have never been to Mexico. People in Mexico, when they claim, "Oh, I'm Mexican," and they want to go back, the people who have born and raised and lived all their whole life in Mexico, you're not Mexican. So they're like in a gray area, in between, like a limbo state. They have driver's license, they have birth certificates.
Okay.
Here in America, they were born in America. They have a birth certificate and they have
now
driver's
they
license,
believe
and they have a job.
That the 14th Amendment protects them as a citizen.
You can't take that away from them.
Okay. I don't see how you can.
You couldn't. And the people that I do know who've lived here their entire life with a birth certificate and have children here.
So for everything that Donald Trump has said about immigration so far, That is the part of it that he may not have done a mental walkthrough. You got to mentally walk through and say, okay, I put up a wall. I interpret the 14th Amendment to not allow anchor babies.
Right.
And I don't allow anybody to have any employment whatsoever in America without legal status, citizenship, and that's it.
Well, they say...
At that point, what do you do with a 25-year-old who was born in America by two illegal immigrants?
Well, it's... They
I want to hear Trump's answer.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And the real answer is they're here. They've got birth certificates. You're going to have to grandfather in.
Okay, so I agree with you 100%.
A lot of people.
Now, no, that's true, and I agree with you 100%. So here's the question: are there going to be people? What do they call them? Agitators. I'm talking. People
of course there'll be agitators doing this.
That say, oh, Brian, so you're for amnesty.
Right.
That's what they're going to say.
Yep.
So you have to distinguish. You have to say, listen, we are now saying that 14th Amendment does not apply for anchor babies, which means all the current anchor babies that are here, that are adults, they have children.
Correct.
Some of them may even get old enough to be grandparents at this point, possibly.
Right.
Those people will just have to grandfather in and give them amnesty. Because they already thought they were a citizen.
Right.
They thought the 14th Amendment gave them citizenship.
Because they were lied to by the Democrat Party.
Exactly. So we'll go ahead and say if you thought you were a citizen because you are an anchor baby, or you may even be a child of an anchor baby.
And you don't even, some of these anchor babies that I know personally.
Yeah.
They knew no different. They had always believed their entire life that they're a citizen.
And all of a sudden they get it yanked
away. They have no idea.
I agree with amnesty. And
they didn't do anything wrong.
The no amnesty people that listen to this are going to be like, he said the A word. I'm never listening again. That we're talking about a very murky situation. We put up a wall. We say no employment. You cannot get a job unless you have legal status. And we're going to interpret the 14th Amendment to not allow anchor babies. There's millions of people who think they're a citizen right now because they thought the 14th Amendment applied to them. What do you do with them?
Right. But you got to keep them here. I've got one more for you.
Okay.
Those anchor babies married Americans.
Oh, that's different.
Americans that have had babies. So
that's different. If you marry an American citizen, you're now legal. You're illegal.
Right. Now, here's the thing, though. If you started to try and decipher who's an anchor baby and who's not an anchor baby, I don't think you could ever get through it all.
Oh, so it's kind of like the people, Syrian refugees, like which ones are terrorists and which ones aren't.
Right.
You just can't. There's no paper trail.
No paper trail.
So if you know that X, Y, and Z, let's say Johnny over here was born in an American hospital, and the parents were illegal, would there be a paper trail for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would know then,
right,
that this is an anchor baby.
Right.
Okay.
You could. However, the fact that he is here, that he's been born here, they were told they were citizens. Mm-hmm. They're citizens. Okay, done and over.
So you're saying amnesty for anchor babies from this date forward.
Right. Now.
Where do we cut it off?
Okay.
There's got to be a cutoff.
Now, January 1st.
Okay.
Now, if you are currently illegal in this country and you're with child.
You mean you're pregnant?
You're illegally in this country.
When you say with child, we're going back to the old English. He's with child.
So for those of you in Westwood.
Yeah. With child doesn't mean you're holding hands crossing the street.
Yeah, that means you're knocked up.
Right. Okay.
Baby daddy or no baby daddy. You got one. You got a bun in the oven and it's on the way.
See, this would confuse liberals because they're like, that's not a child. That's a group of cells.
Right.
That's a
Debbie Wasserman Schultz said it wasn't human in my body. It wasn't human.
That's right.
Okay, so you've got a growing thing in your womb.
It's just what do they call it? A group of cells?
A group of cells in your womb.
Okay.
That will one day emerge
as an anchor
baby.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if you are currently if you're currently pregnant and you're illegally in this country, you better find the exit.
Because if that child is born after the January 1st deadline,
correct,
that child will also be illegal.
Now, with all that being said, there are states that started to implement the E-Verify. All the states that started to implement an E-Verify, when it originally started to work out, they said it was unbelievable the amount of illegals that went back.
So
that left their state because they couldn't get hired.
I knew intuitively, but you're verifying with actual stats that they will self-deport.
Yep.
They will have to go back to Mexico.
Yes. You can't live here. And you cannot get a dime of American welfare money unless you are a citizen.
Well, of course. That's part of the... I'm sorry. If I did not, I should have said that in particular. No social programs, period. No,
you can't have
employment.
You can't have it.
That was the last puzzle piece. So if we say you can only get social services if you're legally here, you can only get a job if you're legally here, and the 14th Amendment is redone, we'll do a grandfather amnesty for anchor babies up to a date set certain.
Right.
And then that's it. That's the end of it. And everybody else will self-deport.
I'm good with that.
Now, here's a question. If this is a big one. Here's one last little murky little gray area. What if you have 9 siblings, all of them anchor babies, and they all will apply to amnesty status? They'll all apply. They'll all be good to go because of our grandfathering in.
Right.
Their parents still live here. They're both illegal. I'll tell you what'll happen. They're going to end up, the family is going to fund them to stay under the shadows.
Well, have them apply, get in line, apply, go through the system.
But somebody like Trump might say, while you're waiting, you got to be in Mexico. And if you're not, we're not even going to look at you. I think that what he'll try to say.
If he says that, I won't like that. I'll tell you, you can stay in the country.
You're just giving amnesty to everybody.
No. if you're not a criminal, you have no criminal background.
Oh, that is another thing.
Right.
You got to forget about it. Forget about it.
Yeah. Now, however, if you're an engineer and you like to build clocks.
Ah. Okay. Those give them a Nobel Prize for science.
Oh, yeah.
For flat out.
I thought you knew.
For the science of destroying stuff.
Yeah, no. Hey, before I forget, I ran across this with the top fundraisers for Hillary Clinton. Who are they? Top fundraisers include lobbyists who serve the parent companies of CNN and MSNBC. The National Association of Broadcasters, a trade group that represents the television station industry, has lobbyists who are funding for both Clinton and Marco Rubio.
Okay.
Kind of odd.
That is weird.
Why Rubio?
Huh. Did I tell you I listened to, or I watched Meet the Depressed this morning?
Oh, I'm feeling depressed already.
So I'm listening to this panel, and I turned it on a little late. I'm sorry for all you guys listening, but full disclosure, when I turned it on, it was 10 minutes into the show, and they said, welcome back. It was right after commercial break. Welcome back. We have a panel, and joining us is blah, 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 and they listed all these people on their panel.
Okay.
And they said, okay, guys, you just heard the interview with Jeb Bush. What's your reaction to that? So I missed the entire 10-minute long interview with Jeb Bush. Full disclosure, but it's good. It's good. I actually,
because you weren't biased by his lunacy.
Well, no, it got me to listen to other things that I might have missed. So they start talking.
So you were trying to listen to their words to figure out, go backwards.
It's called reverse engineering.
Right.
Engineering. Right. Okay, so here's what I discovered listening to this panel, and there was like 5 of them, maybe 5 or 6. They went one by one, taking turns and talking about what they heard. They all said the same thing. They said, yeah, he's hurt and he's not doing too good. He's got to work on this, that, and the other thing. The big thing was, if he was running in 1956, I think the public would love him, but we live in a different world, blah, blah. And guess what they all said? They all said,
what?
He's needs to just make way for Rubio. It's all. It's not his. It's Rubio's. All of them. Not a single word out of all 5 or 6 of the panel said a word about. They did not use the word Trump. They did not use the word Cruz, Fiorina. I think one of them may have threw out Christie's name. It was all about, since it's not really looking like it's going to be Jeb's time, then he needs to make way for Rubio. They literally were trying to, because this mainstream media, this is non-cable, this is widespread, this has got a huge audience because all you people out there who are watching TV through an antenna, this is what you get to watch on Sunday morning. This is all you get, right? Okay, so this is mainstream. This is Westwood. Right. Except they got satellites. But anyway.
Cable, spaghetti. They got bootleg cable, real cable, and a satellite dish.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is this is a wider audience than like practically a Fox News, because this gets to a lot more homes. They're talking to low information voters, and they're telling everybody, when you go to the primary, you have 2 choices. You're going to see a whole bunch of names, but we want you to know your 2 choices.
You only have 2.
Your 2 choices are Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio, and since we're telling you
Jeb ain't working.
Jeb is not working.
No.
Rubio. Isn't that crazy?
Well,
I couldn't believe it. I thought I was living in an alternate universe.
There's a 17-year backstory to Rubio and Bush.
You mean he's older than 17?
Barely.
Okay.
Back in the day, 17 whole years ago,
he would have been like 5
when Rubio was running for his first office.
President of the nursery?
Right.
Okay. He had all his little kindergartners around?
He sported a check for $100 from Jeb Bush.
Okay.
And he showed everybody. He's like, look, oh my God.
It's the president's brother.
It's the big time. Look, I'm making it. It's $100 from Jebby.
Oh, it would be, this would have been before Bush was president.
Yeah, this was way before W.
So this was been,
senior.
Hey, look, I got a check from the president's son.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Who had political ties and had held political offices before. Well, the article goes on to say that they were kind of an odd couple, that Jeb and Rubio don't really, they wouldn't hang out at the same clubs. They wouldn't do the same things. Jeb's a lot older. Rubio's a lot younger. However, it was weird. Jeb would start to fund some of his things and get him to meet the right people to help him fund them. And then Rubio would go and speak for Jeb. So it was a back and forth scratch back.
Okay. All right.
Years and years and years. Now, you get this.
Well, Rubio summed it up. He said,
this whole debate,
the only reason why you're attacking me right now is because we're running for the same office. He flat out said, I have immense respect for Jeb Bush.
Because he brought you up the ranks. He got you in front of the right people.
Right.
And now he's attacking you only because we're running for the same office.
Right. And pointed that out.
And somebody told you would do better in the polls if you attack me.
That's right. And it doesn't matter. Everything they're telling Jeb to do doesn't matter, because it is an obvious fact that anybody who's paying any attention...
Jeb's lost. He's a loser.
He doesn't want this.
No, that's true.
He doesn't want this.
That's true. He does not want this job.
That he is only there as an unwilling spokesperson for power brokers.
Right.
Who are people... These are people that want power, and they can't do it directly, so they get their spokesperson.
Surrogate.
They get their surrogate. They send them up, and they say, do this, this, and this. You're going to be president, and I'm going to be working with you, and I'll have all the power because I'm working with you. I'm in your camp. And he's like, oh, really? Hey, we're giving you millions.
You know how we've been with you for all these years. You've taken all our money. They don't even need to say that. All they need to do is give him the look.
And they let him know. And without
with
even
the
saying
look, right? With the look.
The look is telling him, hey, it's not just me. There are some very powerful people that put millions.
It's got nothing to do with
and
me.
millions of dollars.
Right.
Has nothing to do with me.
No.
I'm the spokesperson for the multimillionaires.
I'm the middleman.
I'm the middleman. I'm the power guy. Those guys are the money guy.
Right.
We're all counting on you. Don't blow this. And he's thinking, well, how about this? I won't make it obvious that I'm blowing it, but I don't want this. I don't want this. They're making me do this because my daddy was president, my brother was president. Now they're making me do this. I don't want to do this.
Right. Well, no, you've got to.
Because you're in too deep. You have crossed the
threshold.
It's called the event horizon.
Yes, you have gone beyond the event horizon.
There's no returning.
So what's the deal with this Politico story about? Speaking of this, the Politico story calling it the incredible shrinking Trump.
Oh yeah, that is so. Okay, so Trump is not going anywhere, and he's not even receding at all.
Not even his hairline.
Well, the part we can't see might be. We don't know,
dude.
He's
literally the memes of his hair are just
there. He has no. Do you know he's completely bald? And
Yes.
no, that's not a wig.
No,
that's his neck hair.
And he
combs the neck hair up and around,
and he knows it, and he sports it.
It might even be his back hair.
And he even says he says, I've invented this hairstyle.
Oh, so he's all on board.
Oh, he owns it all. Absolutely.
Because I thought I've heard him say one time, "Hey, don't mess with the hair."
No, it was
Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah,
John Travolta.
John Travolta.
Don't mess with the hair.
Now, what was his name in Welcome Back, Kotter?
Oh, I didn't watch that show. I'm too freaking young for that. I'm too young for
Hey,
Welcome
Mr.
Back.
Kotter. Mr. Kotter.
He
Come
played
on,
an
Mr.
idiot in
Kotter.
that show, didn't he?
Whew.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, he played a dumber idiot. And is that possible? A dumber idiot than that 70s show with
Saturday Night Fever?
No, the 70s show.
Oh, Ashton Kutcher.
Yes, Ashton Kutcher. He played a dumber idiot than him.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway,
how do we get from his hair all the way to Ashton Kutcher?
So the Politico was trying to spin. They are desperate to destroy him.
Oh, it's not just
way.
him.
The GOP is trying to destroy him. They're coming. Everybody is coming out of the woodwork.
Okay, so for those of you in Westwood who or even I don't even want to insult those who are what I would consider otherwise high information voters, but maybe you don't know what's going on here with the lies about Trump. Okay, so they threw all the spaghetti at the wall. They're trying to figure out what sticks. This is the latest strand of spaghetti, which is just start telling the public that he's falling in the polls.
Right. If we got this whole economy to go into the tank.
That's true.
Although it was late. We were trying to get it to go in a tank when Bush was in office.
Right. They did everything to destroy Bush simply by telling you that this is what he's.
And Mother Jones said that we recovered from the Great Recession in 2009.
Oh, that's right. They wanted it to. Right. We haven't recovered from anything. All of this stuff is all lies.
2012. We are still in the tank.
We're in the tank. Unemployment is all-time high. The recession is at as bad as it's ever been.
Right.
The only reason it doesn't feel as bad as it did 5 years ago is because we've reached a new norm.
Right.
We're used to it.
Yeah, where unemployment at 50% is normal.
Okay. And we accept that.
Right.
Okay, I will tell you this. There is one thing that may have changed, and that is the amount of money being flooded into welfare.
Correct.
So it doesn't feel as bad for those that are unemployed because they're just getting showered with redistributed wealth.
Right.
Okay. So that being said, this is just another of a long line of just lies that Brian just pointed out to you. Just throw another log on top of that bonfire.
Throw another shrimp on the Barbie.
Which is he's slipping in the polls. He's receding like his hairline or whatever. He's not going anywhere.
So I've got the soundbite from Rush.
Okay.
Rush Limbaugh talked about this week, and there's a sound clip on it, and he sums this whole media frenzy, Trump slipping, and he wraps it all up and puts a nice little bow on it, like he does.
He put a cherry on top.
He did.
All right.
Did. So here's Rush.
Okay.
And then there was a fairly decent point. Rush, you're ripping into Jeb's campaign people, but don't you realize if it weren't for Trump, Jeb would probably be the guy with 20 points right now, and this thing would be over. I say, well, there that word is again, if.
If words have meaning.
Yeah, well, if a lot of things, then things would be different. But that actually kind of buttresses my point, as if it weren't for Trump. Well, it is for Trump. Trump is there. You better be able to adapt to it, and you better be able to figure out why Trump is doing well. And if the only ammo you've got with Trump is he's going to blow it, he's going to fade, he's going to step in it, he's not going to last, he doesn't really mean it, he's going to get out it. So if that's all you can do, then you're not doing your job.
Nice.
It's not hard to explain Trump's success. It's really rather easy. That's why when I see the Politico story, the incredible shrinking Trump, in their dreams, they haven't the slightest idea what they're talking about.
Oh, so you pretty much agree with what I just said.
The incredible shrinking Trump. The usual blustery billionaire offered a downright demure performance at the third GOP debate.
He did?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Whatever.
If these hacks in the media were not Democrat Party activists, this story could just as easily be written as Donald Trump shows more maturity as campaign evolves.
Fact.
But no, because the Democrat media does not see Republicans and conservatives in any way, anywhere near a favorable, fair, even almost human way. It's not possible for them. Trump is a cartoon character to all of them, not just Harwood. He is a cartoon character to all of them who they hate.
So that pretty much...
It's projection. They have created in their minds all the things that they hate and despise, and they say, okay, that's Trump.
Right, and it's just interesting. It's interesting that they make up the news to try to sway public opinion. That's really what you're hearing for the past 15 years.
Right.
Was it 04? 08 when Barack Obama got elected. I think it may have been Hannity, but if not, sorry. That's what I remember. Said this is the day or the year that the media died.
Yes.
And it all started. It all started with Chris Matthews having the gall to call himself a journalist, but on
national
televised cable TV say that Barack Obama speaking gives him a thrill up his leg. And this guy is supposed to be giving us objective journalists explaining what happened.
And they're all out in the open now. Like, check this out. And when when I say the everybody's coming out of the woodwork, there's a guy named Rick Wilson.
Oh my gosh! I saw the tweets that you did this week on this guy.
Rick Wilson,
freaky.
I cannot find the sound clip. I can't find the sound bite anywhere.
Got scrubbed.
But I've got the transcript.
Okay.
The GOP establishment's consultant, big GOP consultant establishment, Rick Wilson, in an interview with MSNBC's Chris Hayes, Wilson conceded that Trump is still a very powerful force right now because he appeals to the part of the conservative base that Wilson said was activated by his message. Wilson insisted that the donor class can't just sit back on the sideline and say, oh, well, don't worry, this will work out itself. They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump. And that's a fact. Quote. He then calls Trump I've got the sound clip on that other one. And he says, no, the donor base, the people who fund John Boehner, the people who fund Lindsey Graham, people who fund John McCain, and now y'all who fund Paul Ryan, all y'all, all those people who fund those people, those are the ones that are going to have to put a bullet in Trump.
I definitely would not recommend using that kind of language. I mean, it's one thing to say.
Could you imagine if he was the president of the United States and said, put a bullet in him?
That could be a problem.
FBI would be at your house.
Yeah. Well, did you know, and if you've seen the movie Citizen Kane?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have this special disc set that has the special features. And what you find out about Citizen Kane is that it was kind of a parody of William Randolph Hearst, who was a really, really famous owner of a huge network of newspapers syndicated all the way across the U.S. at the time in the late 1800s.
Right.
He was enormous. He was like the Bill Gates of the time, you know?
Right.
He was the guy. If you got your news from a newspaper, you were
from him.
Yeah, you were probably. So he was like he was the troll. He was the biggest troll ever. He was a total troll. And one of the things he said was, somebody needs to put a bullet in our current president.
Oh, no.
A couple weeks later, he got assassinated. This was McKinley, I think.
Wow.
And ever since then, freedom of speech kind of died a little bit.
Well, you got to take personal responsibility for your own actions. And we've talked about this, screaming fire in a crowded movie theater.
The problem with freedom of speech, which is, we're all about 100%.
Well, what about
die hard?
What about Charles Manson?
Okay, well,
Charles Manson never physically killed anybody. He told other people to go do it.
Well, same thing with Capone.
Right.
Well, I mean, he probably did kill people, but the thing that they were getting these gangsters on, if they didn't pull the trigger, they couldn't get the mafia bosses in prison because they'd say, hey, I didn't kill him. This guy over here did. You got his fingerprints all over the weapon.
Right.
When really he was ordered to do it. So they actually made laws, mafia laws specifically for the mafia that allowed them to prosecute the mafia bosses for ordering the hit.
So, what if there's backlash on Trump? What if somebody acts? Speaking about that, Obama held off and he was dragging his feet on allowing Ben Carson and Donald Trump to have security, Secret Service.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're dragging his feet, got a little heat for it. They finally, last week, Ben Carson and Donald Trump finally get Secret Service protection.
I was going to say, at some point, especially Donald Trump, because he's already so famous. He lives in a huge, ginormous city, the biggest city in the whole, probably North America. And so there's so many people in a congested area.
Well, the crowds that show up to their events warrant Secret Service.
Right, of course.
I mean, not Jeb Bush.
And I hope that they're doing the same for Bernie Sanders. He's got like 30,000 people to his events.
Feel the burn. Dude, I don't get that. Why would you want to feel the heat? I mean,
because his name is Bernie, so they got to come up with something funny.
Who's he going to burn?
Well,
the establishment?
We don't know about his past conquests.
Right.
He may have made them feel the burn.
Speaking about conquest, this is just a little slip of the lip. He's trying to burn Hillary down.
Okay.
Somebody else got in the Hillary camp. Like people she knew, somebody got shot and wound up dead again. Another dead body.
You mean that's involved with Hillary?
Yeah, another dead body.
You're saying that
I don't want anything to do with Hillary.
I don't have my tinfoil hat on, so
I don't want to know Hillary. I don't want to know her. I don't want to get in bed with her. Money wise.
Oh yeah,
right.
Because when he said, when what's his name said, put a bullet in Trump. I'm obviously poor choice of words, but I'm taking it as a figure of speech.
No, it was. It was a figure of speech.
Whereas William Randolph Hearst for McKinley,
yeah,
I think he was dead serious. I think he said, man, I really wish somebody would assassinate this guy. Somebody please put a bullet in him. I really do. And when it happened,
Yikes.
He was protected because back then you really were like freedom of speech was dead serious.
Yeah.
It was stuff like that, and then people started, hundreds of people could die in a crowded theater if there was a fire.
Right.
If there wasn't a fire, people were so scared of fire back then. You scream fire in a crowded theater, and people would get crushed
because of the fear of fire back then in large places. We don't have that fear anymore.
So all of a sudden, when you say, I believe in the freedom of speech,
Do you really?
Under all... Oh, yeah? Well, what about yelling fire in a crowded theater?
You wouldn't get anybody to run nowadays.
Well, we've had this argument before where I said I think that you should be allowed to yell fire in a crowded theater because people are going to look around.
But I don't think you should have the freedom to advocate for the death and the murder of anyone.
So you're saying that they should get arrested for that? Because that's what the freedom of speech is all about.
I don't know how far you take it. I mean, what do? You know, I mean, you can't say, I hope that the president of the United States, please, somebody go kill the president.
Yeah, that's what William Randolph Hearst said.
Well, you can't do that now.
Right.
So
our freedom
do you think you should be able to? Because then Charles Manson would be out of prison.
Well, and then that brings us back to the mafia law. Are you allowed to order a hit?
No.
Of
course not.
So that's how the mafia... So the question is it murder if you order... Like if I hire a hitman?
Yes.
Okay, because money exchanges happen.
Yes.
What if you tell somebody, man, I would really be much happier with my life if somebody would go kill that guy. And somebody who admires you a lot and really wants to do something
did it for you.
And that's what happened with Charles Manson. Charles Manson didn't pay those women.
Well, he was in a cult with them.
He didn't have to pay him. He said, hey, you know what? You want to be in my cult? You
well,
want me to like you? You want me to like you? You got to kill those people.
There was drugs and alcohol.
What about the guy that tried to kill Ronald Reagan?
And he tried to...
He liked, what's her name from, what movie? A Taxi Driver.
Right.
What's her name? Oh, why is that drawing a blank? Somebody call in and tell me who those...
772-49 Smith, S-M-Y-T-H.
She was in Hannibal Lecter's movie, whatever. Right. Silence of the Lambs. Whatever her name is. It's not Helen Hunt. Oh, you know what? But you have not seen them in the same place together. I will tell you that. Mick Jagger and Steven Tyler, same person.
Right.
Oh, you know, I used to
Clarice.
Jodie
Foster.
That's right,
Jodie stinking Foster.
So here's Jodie Foster. Doesn't know this guy at all other than that. Oh, I think she was getting letters from him. She was stalking and, kind of looking in her windows.
Oh.
So apparently he wanted to get her attention, and he thought that she would be impressed if he assassinated Ronald Reagan. And so he went and attempted it and almost damn near succeeded.
Right.
He was in surgery for hours and hours.
Oh, my goodness. I remember that when that went down.
Yeah, so turns out it was some nut job. And do you know, this frustrates me.
He just recently got out.
He's been out for several years.
Okay. When I say recent, I'm out.
Well, he got declared insane.
Right. So go ahead and don't keep him in a mental institution. Just let him walk the streets.
Well, he's with his mom. He lives with his mom.
That's good.
That's the only that's the care and who's looking out for him.
That's a problem.
Well, Ronald Reagan's the only person that probably had to worry about him.
Well, let's hope he didn't have anybody else on his list. So this guy, Rick Wilson, I do have a sound clip of how much he hates Trump. So I wonder, because I don't have the soundbite of him saying put a bullet in him. I wonder how much he really wishes somebody put a bullet in Trump. This is his anger. He's on another MSNBC show, and they're talking and yada, yada, and he just rails.
But should he not hit back if someone attacks him or if he thinks something is inappropriate? Why shouldn't he hit back?
Okay, this is Rick Wilson.
Let me tell you, there's a difference between being not PC and being a giant epic douche canoe. And this guy he acts like somebody who is not presidential. He acts like somebody who is not, doesn't have the gravitas and dignity of the president's office.
He said gravitas.
And it's a tough balance. You wanted to punch back. You wanted to be assertive. You wanted to have some presence on the stage. But on the other hand, this becomes completely about Donald Trump's delicate little ego. And you notice this isn't just about Megyn Kelly, who is an outstanding journalist by every account. This isn't just about her. It's every time he's dinged by a reporter, there's suddenly an idiot, a loser, a jackass, the worst in the world. This is a guy who deals in this hyperbolic rhetoric and language at all times.
Rick, I did not
give
a warning before the show because I'm sure kids may be watching. But
can somebody define a douche canoe?
It's late, Don. But Don, Rick is right. Rick is right on one aspect.
This is Don After Dark.
No. Kids aren't watching. Nobody's watching your show.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Nobody. But you've got to help me understand and paint the picture for me. What is a douche canoe?
It definitely paints a picture, doesn't it?
Well, when I was in Germany on my many travels, when I was in Germany,
did you go canoeing?
No, I went to. I needed to take. I wanted to clean up, so I needed to go get a shower.
What? Okay.
So I went to like the local store, and I'm walking up down the aisles. I'm like, I don't know what's shampoo and what's not.
Okay, all right.
I'm not getting none of these words. Nobody's speaking English. Nobody's nothing. And this lady working there hands me this bottle, and I'm rubbing my head and my back. I'm like, like shower.
Okay.
She hands me this bottle. It looks like shampoo, and it says douche.
Oh. Did you say this isn't for me?
This isn't for me.
This isn't for me.
No. She's like, yeah, it's for you. It's for you. Well, come to find out, douche means shower in German of sorts.
Okay, so when you say douche in America, you're literally talking about a shower for something specific.
Correct. So he's probably not German. Maybe he might be German.
Were you in Germany or Italy?
I was in Germany.
Oh, Germany's douche.
Yeah, Germany. The word douche was
means,
on the shampoo bottle.
Okay, so it means
to shower.
Shower up. Okay.
Right. So here in America, he's not speaking German.
But does he have a German accent?
No.
No.
Speaking English, and he calls out a douche canoe.
Is it a place where you can clean up?
I don't know. Maybe you're in a canoe and you're going underneath a waterfall.
Oh, that would be a douche canoe.
What is
I
that?
could see that, especially if somebody put some suds in the
Right.
water.
But did you hear the hate that he had for him?
He sounds like us. Not that we hate. We're not hating on Trump.
No.
But I mean, we
railing against communism and stuff.
But we use hyperbole here, and we also are trolls. Okay. And this guy sounds like a hyperbolic troll.
Well, but we don't ever advocate for the murder of anybody.
Well, we didn't hear him say put a bullet in him, but if he said,
I've got a transcript that says somebody needs to put he calls out the people who fund the GOP. Y'all need to put a bullet in him.
Okay, so the difference is, how is somebody... we'll talk about this after the show. But, okay, so here's a guy who we have some common similarities to. We like to get animated and say things that normal professionals would refrain from because we want to be entertaining.
Right.
But number one, I don't know if I'd be calling somebody a douche canoe, but I might steal that from him. We'll have to see. But I certainly am not going to tell somebody to put a bullet into a presidential candidate. Obviously, this guy is unhinged. He's an idiot.
The RNC, the Republican National Committee, he is one of the top campaign advisors.
I'm sending them an email and saying, listen, I'll go ahead and take the position if you need it.
Right.
Because I'm similar.
But I won't advocate the murder of anyone.
That's called a filter.
Right. I've got one.
See, what you do is when you're about to say a sentence, it runs through a processor before it comes out of your mouth.
Yeah, because I can even see words as they're starting to come out. I can see them coming out and say, "Oh no, do not! Whoa, why did you do that?"
And this happens like lightning fast. Right. You made it sound like you did say it. No, take it back.
Right.
Jump in the time machine.
And so I'm battling back and forth, punching myself inside my head.
Okay. And then finally, after
the
all
voices
that
are talking to me. The voices.
But then once that process runs through, then the words come out, and when they do, it come out filtered based on, and it's not PC. There's some people that have PC filters.
I don't own one.
Donald Trump doesn't. But did you know? I'm really shocked. I'm gonna be honest with you. Months ago, back in the summer, I believed that he's just on borrowed time because
we talked about this.
Yeah, the non-PC.
You had me on edge.
I believed it. I said, this is a matter of time. Turns out he really does have some sort of filter on because there are things that he could say that I was 100% convinced that by now he would have already done, where he runs into a bridge abutment.
I'm saying that's funny because what Rush said, he has matured in this campaign.
Or he said that's what the headline could say.
Right. And let me tell you, he really did a great... I think they all did a great job except for Jeb Bush. I think Jeb was the second loser next to CNBC.
Okay, so his filter, which to be honest with you is brilliant. Trump's filter is designed in his head so that when they come out, it never causes him to run into a bridge abutment. And so far, that filter has worked very well.
Well, Mari Andretti, just don't wreck it, baby.
Is that what it is?
Just don't wreck
That's
it.
his advice.
Just don't wreck it, baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Mari Andretti called up, and for those of you listening from Italy, as Mario Andretti.
Andretti. Okay.
Because I would say to them, I'd say, Mario Andretti. They're like, who?
Have you seen the movie Better Off Dead?
Do you realize the street value of this mountain?
I didn't know you knew it that well. My God. I thought maybe you saw it once a long time ago. Did you know my daughter loves that movie, and last winter...
Can they watch it?
Yes, they can watch it.
Okay.
Yes, they can. Absolutely. It's clean. But did you know that we were pulling up to drop her off at her elementary school, and it had snowed. It was snow everywhere. She goes, "This is pure snow!" And I'm like, "No, Abby, I wouldn't say that at school." But yeah, she loves to say that line, and she has no idea what it means. No idea.
Yeah, for those of you who do not know,
so the reason
Cusack,
right, John Cusack, one of his early movies,
very early on.
It's kind of a cult classic.
Yeah, he said in the movie that the very classical picture. That's the one where he's holding up the radio and he's playing.
No, that's a different one. That one's that's a different one.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember which. That was a chick flick.
That was a chick.
This one was a little bit more. This is the one with the $2. I want my $2.
$2. He's chasing down on the bike.
But the reason I ask you that is because the advice that everybody gives him when he's at the top of the mountain about the ski down is, okay, so here's what you do. You go that way really fast. If something gets in your way, turn.
Perfect.
That's their advice. So I thought of that when you said that Mario Andretti's
advice to Trump was
just don't crash.
Just don't crash.
Just don't crash.
Just don't crash.
So in Better Off Dead,
right?
Trump, go that way really fast. But if something gets in your way,
just
turn.
Just a little bit.
And that almost happened in the last debate. And you know what he did? He turned.
Yeah, he did.
But it's funny. But in Better Off Dead, he crashes every time. Except for the last time, so when I just spoiled it. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert.
Alert.
But you should go out and watch that movie. If you're older and know anything about Howard Cosell, there's a lot of really funny stuff. The Howard Cosell drivers.
The two Asian guys.
Yes. Anyway.
So this week, an article came out. Donald Trump convinces Ford to bring back business to America from Mexico.
Oh, this is really good news for Trump.
Yes,
really good. He has no power whatsoever.
He's just a regular businessman,
and he can legitimately say. And I don't think anybody out there has attempted to come forward and say, "Come on, this has nothing to do with Trump." But he can legitimately say, "Hey, my talking about this has pressured them to say, all right, we're pulling up stakes and we're going back to America."
There you go.
So when he says stuff that, I'm going to do it. Well, how are you going to do it? No, trust me. You just got to trust me. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it better than anybody else. And I'm going to build that wall. And I'm going to build a better wall than you've ever seen. And it's going to be bigger. And I'm going to make Mexico do it. And when everybody says, how? We don't believe you. Guess what? You can believe him now.
Okay, now the follow-up story to that. Targeting Reagan Democrats. Anderson, South Carolina, Reuters. To hear Trump tell it, blue-collar workers are suffering as much as ever. Their livelihoods endangered by the familiar combination of foreign competition and U.S. companies eager to hold down labor costs. It's Trump's mantra. He repeats it again and again. Campaign stops like the one he made last week, a leading contender for the Republican nomination. Trump has made the health of the U.S. manufacturing a cornerstone of his insurgent campaign. In doing so, Trump is targeting a big pool of potential voters among disaffected blue-collar workers, even if it means alienating the business community and conservative free market advocates, and brings accusations of demagoguery.
What? They're calling him a demagogue?
Yeah, they just slipped the lip. They're trying to turn conservative free market and the business community, they're trying to turn him against him. Because he's advocating for bringing business back to America.
How is this even possible? Are they trying to say...
This is Reuters. This is Reuters.
So Reuters, you might have to walk me back through what you just read, because I was listening, but it was a mouthful. Are you saying that the companies are worried about getting cheap labor?
Well, yes. He is advocating his cornerstone of his campaign, U.S. manufacturing. What he's saying, well, Reuters is saying is at all cost, blue-collar workers, I don't care what you need to get paid, I'm bringing businesses back, and they can hate me for paying you big money.
There's a lot of things that worry me about Trump, and I'm sorry if you're listening and you're a huge Trump fan, like diehard blind Trump fan. I think that he'd make a good president so far, but there's a lot of unanswered questions, like does he believe in capitalism like I do, where there should be no minimum wage, and that people in high school and maybe even in middle school and even possibly grade school should be taught how to negotiate their wage? That should be a critical part.
And I will say,
of your upbringing.
Right. And I will say, from what I've seen and what I know, he's a smart man. And minimum wage hikes to $15 an hour at coffee shops and Mickey D's, Seattle and San Francisco. You all have done you've done the American public a major service twofold. One, you've shown everyone how that utterly fails in the sense of no jobs. And two,
closing down businesses.
You've now showed the American resilience of the businessman. Mickey D's have self-checkout aisles. You walk up to the stand and you punch in your order.
So they've eliminated the person that takes your order.
Yes.
Because they can't afford $15 an hour
to flip a burger.
And so you think that everybody's getting paid more, and they're not.
Right. And to understand this, people who make minimum wage, the vast majority, which is a very small percentage of the workforce, extremely small percentage of the workforce.
And you can eliminate, if you're under the age of 18, I would say don't even count them.
You might
because you need to be not paid very much. You need to be having a small wage.
Right.
But so don't even count them. How many people...
Those that are collecting minimum wage, live at home and are single.
How about this? Let's refine it.
Those are the numbers.
What's the percentage of people in America who are either supporting a family or partially supporting a family, like maybe there's several incomes in the household, and are responsible or at least partially responsible for either a mortgage payment or a rent payment? How many of those people are making a minimum wage and are depending on a governor or a legislator to increase the minimum wage in order to get a raise?
It is so minuscule. The numbers are so minuscule that by raising minimum wage does exponentially more damage to everyone around you than for those people making minimum wage to realize I need to hone my skills, I need to get better, whether I need to go to a tech school and learn a physical hands-on technical job, machinist, auto mechanic, aircraft mechanic, whatever it is. For me, it forced me, because I wanted more money, it forced me to look for other avenues. And I found the military, found the Air Force. And I told the recruiter, don't you dare put me in the motor pool. I'm better than that. I want to work on aircraft. That is flat out the only way I'll do it. And they did me one better, which I didn't even know that was even a job. They made me a machinist. They come to me with what looked like 5 parts, but they said, no, this was originally one piece. Can you make another one?
We broke it. We fixed it.
And so all those things I learned in the military, and then through the different jobs I've had, I've learned these skills over and over again. And then when I go to work and the boss says you're going to second shift, and I said, man, I got to quit. He comes back to me 6 hours later and says, no, all right. I worked it out. You're still on day shift, and nobody complains about it.
That's called negotiating. Do you remember Driving Miss Daisy with Morgan Freeman and Jessica Tandy?
That racist movie.
Very racist. But that's not racist. It's a good time.
I know.
So there's a very great scene. I should cut that scene out. I'll probably get busted for copyright violation. I'd love to cut that scene out and post it up on YouTube under a capitalist channel or something like that. Where, do you know who his boss was Jessica Tandy's son, which was Dan Aykroyd.
Right.
Dan Aykroyd was the son, and he was the one that employed Morgan Freeman.
Right.
Okay. So Morgan Freeman sitting down with boss man Dan Aykroyd, and he's just chit chatting with him. He's like, "Hey, by the way, one of the neighbors up the street approached me and said, hey, look like you're doing a good job. You can come over and work for me. He offered me a heck of a lot more money." And Dan Aykroyd was like, really? Did he really? He's like, how about if I pay you this? And he was like, well, you don't need to do that. I'm happy with it. No, I'll do it. And there's your negotiation right there. Gave him a huge raise.
I was worth, and I'm probably worth more, but I'm worth at least what I'm making right now at the company I'm with, and all the benefits, the perks. It is a fully heated, fully air-conditioned shop.
So they have the heat and the air conditioning on at the same time.
I wear a sweater. We talked about that too. I wear a sweater all year round inside that shop because it's cool.
But we're going into winter.
I still got to wear a sweater.
Oh, I was going to say, are they going to crank the heat up? In the
the heat is on, but you never, it's so big. But my whole point is throughout the whole summer I wear a sweater because the air conditioning is so cold. That in a machine shop, in an industry like that, is the biggest perk I have ever seen.
It's usually just a hot, sweaty mess.
Oh, my goodness. All around all the grease and the coolant and the touch, you're sweating. It's 100 degrees out, and it's just awful.
So that's a job perk, but we're talking money.
Now money. I negotiated my pay.
Yeah.
I told him what I was making at the other company.
You didn't walk in there and say, well, what would you pay me if you hired me?
No. I told him, I said, this is what I was making at the other company. And we talked about that back and forth. He got me. He caught me not looking. He shot me very quietly.
Did he slide the paper over to you?
No. He shot me below my other pay by a small percentage, but then told me I'll be making this much more for being on night shift. And he harped about that and not about the other one.
Pulled that one. You know what I do to customers? I'll show them what it's supposed to cost. And then I'll tell them I'm giving 15% discount.
See, what I should have done is I should have said, I'm not asking for $50 an hour, bro. That's not what I'm here to do. Not asking you for $50 an hour.
I love it.
I'm just talking just a measly 25. Half of that. Half.
I love that tactic. That's awesome.
They say if you ask your parents for money, Dad, come on, I don't need $50,000. I just need $500.
I mean, I could use it, but I don't need it. I won't do that to you.
I don't need $50,000. I'm not here begging for $50,000. Come on. I just need $500.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, not $50,000. Not $50,000.
Oh, that's how.
Oh my goodness, we're out of time.
How much time?
3 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Obama sends troops into Syria, special forces.
We didn't talk about Common Core.
Is the Cold War really here or not? Yeah, maybe so. Russian aircraft fly by American ships. Do a flyby, real close call. Kind of weird. 800,000 refugees are set to return to Syria thanks to Vladimir Putin's effort to smash the Islamic State. The streets are safe again and stores are opening.
Okay.
That's in Syria. That's by Russia. Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, He is a 58%. He scores 58% as a Republican. Scores 58%, which is a failing grade, according.
In school, yeah.
It's according. They do this whole percentage to Republicans. They give you a percentage on your grade on how well of a Republican you are. Speaking of that, Paul Ryan gets a 58%, which is failing. John Boehner, 51%. They're kindred.
Oh my God.
They're kindred spirits. Ben Affleck had Hillary Clinton's personal email.
Oh, did we find that?
Yeah, Ben Affleck had Hillary Clinton's personal
He's a
email.
Democrat think tank. He's a self-described Democratic think tank.
Right.
Or is it Democratic?
Democratic think tank.
He's a Democracker.
And then we talked about this too. All of a sudden, emails from Hillary to Obama and Obama to Hillary back and forth.
Interesting. That's a very interesting.
Executive order. Can't see him for how long?
They said 5 to 12 years, but I mean, he's got 1 year left and he's gone.
Right. It doesn't even matter.
So this will be during the next, not this election cycle, but 4 years from now. They might be starting to talk about being able to see that stuff.
What a crying shame.
But why? Why is he saying don't let me see him, or don't let anybody see him? Executive order. Why is he doing that?
Because there's some dirty deeds.
There's dirty deeds, and then why did Biden?
Oh, that's right.
Biden went out there against his will to get away from the presidential campaign and say, I'm not running because Hillary's got dirt on Obama. So
Right.
Obama said, okay, let's make a deal. I'll get Biden out of the race.
Oh, you heard it. We are all over the place for you.
See you guys next week.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom. Wow.